Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning. Let me send out this link real quick and then we can get started, guys. So let me get everything situated. And once we get this ready, we can get started. This coffee open too. 6:20. Not sure if you guys saw US 30 last night. It shot up pretty crazy. It did exactly what we anticipated, guys. Let's get this open real quick. Let me get this finished right here, and then we can get started. Cool. Got my Dunkin' Donuts ready. Send out this link real quick, guys, and then we can get started. Go to the Telegram first. I'm just gonna send out this link real quick, guys. Send it to the premium public groups. Forward this to the chats. And a few last places as well. I'm gonna put it on the Facebook real quick. Send out email. We should be good to go, guys. So I think I have a few last places to post this real quick. Post it on the website. January 4th. All right, one last place, guys. Let me set up these alerts real quick, just in case the market opens up pretty quick, which it should. We'll probably see like some volatility for US 30 as soon as market opens right now in 10 minutes. Yeah, in about 4 minutes, we'll see some crazy movement, and then we'll identify the entry from that point. One last place, Instagram. All right, let me get this on the Instagram real quick, and then we should be good. What's wrong one? All right, screenshot that, copy the link, post it on the Instagram. Swipe up. All right, I think we should be good, guys. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise we'll be looking at the charts and we'll be focusing primarily on US 30 this morning to see if we can get an entry. I posted this on the IG. Looks like we're good to go. Let me go ahead and pull up the chat real quick, see if there's anything going on. Cool. Looks like people are still showing up right now. So let's see. Morning, Peter. Morning, Callie. Morning, Braden. Morning, Varun. Morning, Nicole. Morning, Kushi. Morning, Billy. Morning, Black Jerry. I haven't seen you in a while. Morning, Matt. Morning, Billy. Morning, Wava. Morning, everybody. Happy New Year's. If you guys weren't on the session with me yesterday, welcome you guys back to a new trading week. The market is moving a little crazy this morning. You guys got to keep in mind that the market was closed for about 4 days. So we're probably going to see some weird movement this morning. And on top of that, we have NFP this week, right? So if you guys are familiar with NFP, this is usually where they're going to be releasing the unemployment data. It's probably going to be less because, you know, this unemployment data was from last month in December when a lot of people were working during the holidays, you know, a lot of seasonal jobs, stuff like that. So it's probably going to increase. You can see right here, the previous was 245,000. And they're anticipating it to be at 69,000 for this month or for the previous month. So NFP is probably going to be good for the US dollar. However, everything else is going to be bad. So I don't really anticipate this to increase the US dollar strength very much. You know, we just got stimulus. So the US dollar is just weakening as time goes on. So NFP is gonna inject some nice volatility in the market. However, I don't think it's really going to affect it too much. It's not going to, you know, spike it one way or the other because, you know, this is expected from a holiday month. So let's go ahead and take a look at the charts here, and we can probably get started shortly. Let me see if I can get this started right here. All right, cool. Looks like people are still rolling in, so I'm going to give it a little more time before we continue. But I definitely will get started shortly. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, like I mentioned, we're going to be focusing primarily on the US 30 entry today until that appears, because we just don't have much stability with the Forex pairs this morning. I'll go over each Forex pair and I'll explain, you know, why I feel that way about these pairs. But, you know, obviously our main concern today or just during the morning is going to be US 30. So let me go ahead and take a look real quick and see what's going on. All right, cool. So let's see if anyone else joined in on here. Good morning, Lisa. Morning, David. David, are you not at work today? See your username is different. Morning, Usman. Morning, Chelsea. Morning, Ricardo. Morning, Victor. Morning, Indra. Morning, everybody. So yeah, definitely, guys. So let me go ahead and look through the chat real quick. And yeah, if you guys haven't already, I see everyone in the chat giving, you know, the reminder. If you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help so I can continue to do these live streams every morning. Because, you know, like I mentioned, I'm getting a little busy now with a lot of the new members. So in order for me to make this worthwhile, it definitely would help if you guys could just like the stream and follow the page, just so that we can continue to grow this channel a little more. Oh man, check out US 30, guys. So it's pretty bullish, as we said. You know, usually from November until the end of the year, it's pretty bullish. So if we go back here, you can see all the way from, yeah, so from early November, if we go back to the daily chart, you can see here all the way from October, actually, it was pretty bullish, right? And that happens every year. It usually closes pretty bullish so that the numbers look good. But I'm not sure how long it'll last. You know, it'll probably last maybe until next week, maybe the week after. It's at an all-time high, so keep that in mind, guys. But it's been bullish since then, you know, since October 30th. It's November 1st. It's pretty much shot up. It did exactly what we anticipated. That's why we hit our full TP. But like I mentioned, it's a brand new year. I'm not sure exactly what will happen. Also with this entry right here, I'm going to be implementing the new addition to our strategy. So if we get a buy signal and it doesn't close above here, so if this doesn't swing back up and then we get our buy signal above there, I'm not going to take it because it's just too risky. You know, if you guys are familiar with the new strategy, it's been working pretty nice. That's exactly how we hit our full TP last week. Basically, it's a simple variation to what we're already applying. It's just an extra confirmation. So like basically right here, the previous signal was a sell signal. So if this buy signal closed above, it's a decent entry right here for a scalp. Vice versa, if we're entering it during the New York session, how we normally do, this would be an example of it. Where was it at? An example of it right over here. So basically this, or actually right here, this sell signal is right here. This buy signal closed above it. So that's why we would have taken this entry right here. Pretty much just wrote it all the way up, right? We had a couple people lock in some nice profits from last week, I think. Let me see. So Miriam, I'm not sure if you're in here, Miriam, but she did send me her profits from from this morning. So she took the buy that I sent out on Friday, last Friday, and she forgot to close it. So she ended up holding onto it, and I mentioned that it was going to continue shooting up. So she woke up to like $400 in profit. So that's pretty good. A few you guys here as well who took the UK 100, Tam, you know, she's always locking in some nice profits over there. So she took the UK 100 trade. Some of you guys are like pretty deep in profit for this week already, and the week just started. So congrats to you guys. And we're just going to keep following this. If it doesn't fall within our requirements, then we're not going to take the entry. If it does, we'll take it. But obviously, if it doesn't, we're just going to sit it out because it's going to be a pretty rocky trading week with the market just reopening. Until everything's fully open and everything's fully moving properly, this this right here will probably continue moving a bit weird. You guys got to keep in mind that we are at an all-time high right here. This is the all-time high. So if we go back over here on the daily, you can see that price has never been that high ever. So keep in mind, because with that said, with it being the all-time high, a lot of people are going to be betting on the opposite direction, right? Because everyone's anticipating it to drop. And I'm pretty sure if I look at the sentiment, majority of people are probably shorting it right now as well. So let me just pull that up real quick. IG sentiment, US 30. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are short right now. Let's see. Yep, 70% of people are short right now. So I personally wouldn't want to be short because there's so many people short right now. Like I've always mentioned, the thing with this is it's probably going to drop a bit, and then when you least expect it, it's going to skyrocket right back up, right? So I don't want to be trading where everyone else is trading. There's too many people short right now. They're going to give these people some profit just to keep it exciting and keep people, like, luring people in for a short. But I think, let me see where the next zone is. So I could go ahead and draw these zones, and then we'll just see where the rejection points are. Like I mentioned, if it doesn't close above this point, I'm not going to take the trade. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt to identify these rejection points. There's one right there. There's one down there. There's a couple down here. Down here as well. And way down here. So these are the rejection points right here. This is like areas to look out for price to reject off and possibly shoot right back up. So we could just keep this in mind. But like I mentioned, if price doesn't close up here where the signal was, then I'm not going to be taking a buy signal. However, if we get an invalid sell, and then, or no, if we get an invalid buy. So if we get an invalid buy signal, kind of similar to how this is right here, this is an invalid sell. If we get an invalid buy and then it's followed by a valid sell, then we would take it. But once we get to that point, then I'll go into that more in detail for you guys that are new here. But if you guys are familiar with it, we might get an invalid buy right here where it rejects off this point. And then if we get another sell signal going this way, then we would take that sell signal. But until then, we are going to wait for this to play out. You can see right here, it's running to some support off this zone that I just drew not too long ago. This zone was developed, I think, back on the 3rd yesterday, because it tested it here about 3 times. So it's a pretty strong support, but we'll see what happens if it breaks through. It might just break right through, or it might reject right back up. So we'll see how that plays out. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We don't have, a really tight schedule today because the Forex market is moving a little unusual. Well, not unusual. It's this normal for it to move like this at the beginning of the week, especially from a long holiday. You see prices kind of going in both directions, kind of just spiking around right now. With the Australian dollar over here, if you came into my session yesterday, I mentioned that this is probably going to be bullish overall, probably not today, but throughout the week into next week. So you can see right here, it's just retracing, right? You can see for all these AUD pairs, price was bullish since December 6th. It's been super bullish, retracement, another bullish move, retracement, and it's normal. It's going to retrace down before it shoots back up. So probably by the 5th or the 6th, it'll probably get to this point over here. But then eventually it's going to reject off it and continue up further. So this is why we're being a little careful today, because market's fully opening for the trading week and for the trading year. after the holiday. So everything's retracing back. You can see price shot up, retracement. Same with AUDJPY, price shot up, retracement. And we're just going to wait for that retracement to end so that we can catch the bullish move back upwards. So, going down all these AD pairs right here, small retracement, right? Especially for AUD USD right here with the US dollar printing all that money for the stimulus. Odds are this is probably not going to continue down. It's going to swing right back up and it's going to skyrocket to the moon. So that's it for those pairs right there. I'm just going to keep an eye on this right here for US 30, and then I'm going to go take a look at the chat real quick. Let's see what's going on here. See if there's anything else that's left over here. Hey, Razul. Razul is asking, morning, Shawn, what's happening with Bitcoin? Is it too late to buy? So the thing with Bitcoin is that it's not really I wouldn't consider it, a smooth move for Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, it's a lot of speculation. I personally don't normally trade Bitcoin like by itself. What I do with Bitcoin is I just buy and I hold it. So it is dipping right here. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's too late to buy. It's never too late to buy Bitcoin because I do see it continuing up further and further. So the most recent support's gonna be way down there. So on the shorter time frame. If you really want to look for that discount, you can. I think it is definitely a little too late to buy right now because it is at an all-time high. Not that I think it's going to drop, but you're not really getting it at a good price because these zones are so far off. So, and it just rejected off this zone right here. So, yeah, it's never too late to buy Bitcoin. So it's really up to you if you want to hop in at this price. I think it's going to continue up. Let me see if I can pull up my Bitcoin here. So my Bitcoin, if you guys remember, if you guys have been following me for like the past couple months, I bought my Bitcoin at about $400. So I bought it about $400, and then actually I sent it over to Sisu. Where's Sisu at? Here, let me see if I could pull this up. Actually, I have it right here. So I put about $400 into Bitcoin, and then now it's currently at about $1,400 right here. So it shot up quite a bit. I got in at a decent price about 3-4 months ago, and I just been holding on to it. So it's, I can't really say if it's too late or if it's a good time to buy because we don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin, right? There's no history with Bitcoin. It just keeps shooting up until it drops. And then if it wants to shoot up again further, it'll continue shooting up. There's just a lot of hype around Bitcoin right now, especially with COVID and stuff. So that's why it's continuing to push up further. But there's no real way to identify if it's going to, continue up further or if it's going to come down. So it's really going to be like a personal choice for you, Razul, because for me, I'm not taking my Bitcoin out. So for me, I'm always going to have a bullish bias. I'm just going to keep holding it. And the higher it goes, the better, right? But if it doesn't go any more higher and it comes back down, I'm still going to hold on to it. So there's not necessarily any specific advice I could give you for Bitcoin. If you want to buy it, then buy it. But, like I did mention, it is pretty high right now. But I don't expect it to drop any further. I expect it to continue up even more. And that's because I have a vested interest in this specific asset. So if you want to buy it, go ahead. But I wouldn't necessarily actively trade it. I would just buy and hold for long term. Morning, Hope. Morning, John. Morning, Deswell. Morning, Josh. Morning, David. Morning, Velocity. Where's that dude? Morning, Ari. Morning, Angela. Morning, everybody. Velocity's asking, where's that dude? Hey, Renko, are you in here somewhere? Because Renko called I don't know if you guys remember, Renko called a sell yesterday when we were, or on Friday when we were into this buy, and it ended up doing the opposite of what he said. I think he said to sell somewhere around here. Ended up shooting way up like we anticipated. So, just messing with you, Renko. But if you're in here, we'll see. Hey, Mosim, how's it going? Morning. Let me go ahead and take a look at these requests over here and make a list of all the pairs that you guys want me to look at. So if you guys want me to look at any pair and analyze it for you, just put it in the chat and then I can take a look at anything that you guys want. So let me go ahead and take a look real quick and see what everyone's asking for this morning. Let's see if there's anything over here real quick. Did see a couple questions. Sorry guys, I think okay, so we got Ricardo over here for Eurocad. Let's see, Ricardo. Eurocad buy, we'll take a look at that. Let's see if there's anything else that I'm missing here before I continue. Nice, Victor. Say good morning, Shawn and the team. Happy New Year. Let's get paid. Definitely. 100%. I'm ready for this year, guys. You know, we had a killer year for 2020. If you guys haven't seen our results, I'll go over them shortly. But I'm going to just go down this list real quick and pull up any pairs that you guys want me to look at before we continue further. So we got Razul over here that wants Euro GBP. And then let me see if there's anything else before we continue further. Kushi wants Nzdchf. Morning, Alan. Morning, Brian. Morning, JC. Morning, Callie. Morning, JC. Morning, everybody. So let me get this over here real quick, and then let me continue with these other questions. So Kushi wants Nzdchf. We've got Kelly with gold. Brian with JC with Nasdaq 100. And then we've got Brian over here with Euro USD or Euro odd. All right, cool. So let's see what we got over here. And we got one more with the producer. So we got EJ. All right, cool. So we got a couple down here. We got Ricardo for Eurocad, Razul for Euro GBP, Kushi for Nzdchf, Callie for gold, JC for Nasdaq, Brian for Euro odd, and the producer for Euro JPY. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at all of these over here, and then we will we'll continue with this. So this is what we're looking at right now, guys, at US 30. I mentioned that I drew the zone before price got to this point. As I mentioned, it's a strong support zone right here, right? It's tested it a bunch of times and it's having trouble breaking right through it. This is why we wait for price to close below a structure or above a structure than, you know, entering too early, because this is going to be a very important price point where price will either reject off it or it'll break through it and continue down further, right? So we'll see how this plays out. I do have my alert set up, so I'll be looking back and forth between US 30 as I analyze everything else, and then we will continue on further. Let me see if there's any other questions before we get started. So we have a couple more right here. Varun's asking, is 15 lots good for a 100K new FTMO challenge? So Varun, yeah, for US 30, if that's the only thing you're trading, then 15 lots is fine. You should probably keep it between 10 and 15 lots. So 15 would be the max that I would recommend, because that would risk about 2,250. Your max loss for the day would be 5,000. It's well below that. So if you're only trading that one asset, then 15 lots is fine. But if you're trading UK 100, you're going to have to lower your lot size, because you're going to have enough cushion, to fit in that risk for 2 positions at a time. So if you're only taking 1 position, then yeah, 15 lots is cool. But if you're taking more than 1 position on that FTMO, then you should definitely lower your lot size, because you need to accommodate for the other risk that you're implementing with those other positions. So let's see, Zephyr, morning, Zephyr. Can you comment on how you would trade JPY? Okay, cool. So Zephyr wants JPY or JPN, basically the Nisei 225. John wants me to take a look at oil. And then Lisa wants me to take a look at CJ. So Lisa, is that CAD JPY or CHF JPY? I'm assuming it's CAD JPY, right? So we got a decent list over here, guys. So we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pairs to analyze. I'm gonna zoom through those real quick, and then we can go ahead and keep going back to US 30 right here, you know, in case we have an entry up here. It is still kind of early, guys. It's only 6:48, so we have a lot of time before we can enter this position. I'm hoping that we get one today, so we can kick off the the trading week kind of on point. Let me check. We have one more question from Don. So Don said, Shawn, I'm in my 100K challenge right now. I still got 2 weeks left. I'm up 5% now and need to make another 5%. I often took profits too early because I was afraid of a reversal. Any tips? So Don, I honestly, I think you made the right decision by doing that, by taking profits early, especially during the holidays, because the market, you know, it's all over the place. You don't know where it's going to go. So I think you're fine, and just continue to keep doing what you're doing. You know, take your trades and take profit when you can, because you know, if you can at least make a 1% increase daily, you have 2 weeks. So you only need to have about 5 wins for you to, you know, basically pass. The main thing that I would recommend is that don't take too big of a lot size and don't try to pass with one trade, right? Because here's the thing, if you close out that account, like if you end the 2 weeks and you're still in profit, they'll give you a free retry. And I'd rather, you know, I would choose a free retry over failing the account, because you want to take like huge risk. So I recommend to continue doing what you're doing. It's still early in the in this month, so you do have some time. Also, it is NFP, so you're going to have a lot of volatility probably by Tuesday, Wednesday. So you should be able to lock in some trades to keep bumping up that win percentage up, or not win percentage, but you know, your profit percentage for your specific challenge. So you do have a lot of time. 2 weeks is a lot of time. Don't think of it as, you know, you like that you have a countdown, because you do have a countdown, but 2 weeks is a lot more than having just 1 week. So I would take your time, continue to take profits, because the last thing you want to do is be in profit, you know, 2%, and then you end up getting greedy, not wanting to close your account because you want to go for that full 5% to pass, and then it ends up reversing on you, right? It happens all the time. So just be safe and keep taking profits. Right now is not a time to take unnecessary risk. I'd probably wait until like maybe 1 or 2 more weeks into the month before you do something like that, because last thing you want to do is go below that 5% and then be in the negative by the end of the challenge. Just make sure you're in profit and don't take any crazy trades right now, because obviously look at US 30 right here, guys. This was kind of like a fake out last night, right? Because it shot up this way. I'm sure a lot of people try to take a buy because they thought it was going to continue up, and then it ended up reversing on them. So just be very careful with your trades within the next week or so, because the market still has to it starts to stabilize from the weekend. Morning, Walter. How's it going? Varun has one more question. Can I start 2 challenges at the same time? Yes. So Varun, you can start as many challenges as you want. They'll just give you different logins, and you can trade different things on it. Like some people trade Forex on one, some people trade US 30 just on one, or you can combine them as well. So I think that's it for the questions right now. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the questions from earlier. So Ricardo wants me to take a look at Eurocad. Let me pull up Eurocad real quick. So Eurocad right here. These are the zones that I drew yesterday. I'll just redraw them again for the people that are new here and haven't seen how I draw my zones and analyze the charts. So I'm just going to delete everything off the chart. Here's a naked chart right here. This is what it looks like normally. I'm going to turn on my K2SRs right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones over these points. So we've got one right here. We've got one right here. It's kind of messy right here, so I might just create one big zone right there. We have another zone right there. Yeah, guys, if the zones overlap too much, it's easier to just draw one big zone than to draw a bunch of small zones, because then it gets a little too messy and it's hard to really see where you'll be trading. So looking at Eurocad right here, there's my zones. I'm gonna turn off the K2SR, zoom out from here, and you can see how important these zones are, because obviously you can see these zones have been respected way back since July of last year, right? So price is currently right here. The same zones have been tested every month. So December, November, October, September, August, up until July. So you can see that these zones right here are very important zones. And then looking at it from this point, once I have my zones drawn up, I turn on my momentum indicator. And then right here at this point, we have a bullish momentum, right? So price broke this structure right here. What I anticipate happening from this point is for price to push up and test this structure up here, right? So at this point, you can take a long position right here and then pretty much ride it up to there to full TP. An example for this right here. So this is what I see happening right here. You can see that history always repeats itself, right? Look at the last time that this happened. The last time where price broke structure right here and we had a sell signal. So you can see price came up, swung back down. On this candle, it closed below structure. It was followed by a sell signal right here. Draw these ellipses right here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right. So you can see right here, price broke structure. And then it was followed by a confirming sell signal right here, right? So price broke structure right here. And then it was confirmed with the sell signal. So once this happened right here, you could take a short position and it would have hit full TP right there, right? For about 76 pips. And it pretty much, it always repeats itself. So basically, if we have a signal going one direction, it breaks structure like it did right here. Look what happened at this point. Price broke the structure. We had a sell signal. Momentum is coming down. It tests this structure. Rejection off this point. Buy signal. It broke structure. It tested this structure. Came right back down. Broke structure. Sell signal. Came back down right here. Rejection. Broke structure right here. So same situation right here again. Price broke structure. We have a buy signal. It's just going to repeat itself because price goes from structure to structure pretty much. You know, it goes from zone to zone. Like right here, price, we had a buy signal. It broke structure. What happened there? It shot up to the next structure, right? Shot up to the next structure. It broke structure again right here. Another buy entry right there. It's like back-to-back full TPs right there, right? And it just repeats itself. So that's what I see happening for Eurocad right here. I anticipate it to continue up further over here. It might retrace back a little bit, but eventually it's going to shoot up, test this structure right here before either continuing up further or rejecting off and coming back down. So that's what I see happening right here for Eurocad. But like I mentioned, the market's kind of iffy right now because of the market reopen, right? So there's a lot of regular movements in the market. Generally, just looking at the other Euro pairs right here, they're all technically bullish for the most part recently, right? So just from like the past couple of days, or just yesterday actually, they were sort of bullish, but overall they were kind of bearish, right? From the Christmas week, Christmas and New Year's week. So like from right here, from the 22nd up until New Year's, it was slightly bearish. So that's why this right here for Eurocad is a little risky. Although this would be a decent entry right here, I'm not sure if it'll necessarily push up all the way to this point. It might push up slightly before coming back down. And this is why I wouldn't enter trades just yet, because there's a lot of uncertainty in the market as everything starts to stabilize, right? Right now, it's like a turning point. It's either, so there's like two scenarios that can play out. If I hide this right here, and I just show you what happened last week. So looking at the market last week, it was bearish, right? So let me just draw this channel right here. Looking at the market last week, it was bearish. But you guys got to keep in mind that this is a brand new year. You know, we went from 2020 to 2021. At this point, price can easily reverse the other direction and go the other way, right? Or price can just have a small retracement right here, and then it'll just continue the move from last week, right? So you guys got to keep in mind that there's a couple different things that can play out here. Whenever you're analyzing a pair, always analyze it from both perspectives. Even though it looks like a strong bullish bias right here, who knows, it can easily go the other way. So you guys got to keep in mind that there's no like cookie pattern, like cookie cut pattern where you can easily identify where it's moving, especially when you're shifting from, you know, the end of year movement right here into the new year movement, because this could easily go in the other direction. You know, this could have been temporary just for the holiday week because volatility was low. Obviously, you can see right here, it was bullish from the beginning of December up until the holidays. So up until the 22nd, it was bullish. And then during Christmas week, it pulled down a little bit. Here's Christmas right here. It retraced back a bit. And then during New Year's week right here, it dropped again, right? This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to continue dropping. It can easily swing back up because for one, the shorter term bias would be bearish right here because it came down the past 2 weeks, right? However, the long-term bias right here is actually bullish, right? So you guys got to keep in mind that it, you know, depending on how you're looking at it, this might come down slightly for the short-term bias right here. The short-term bearish bias might come down slightly, but I think eventually it'll probably swing right back up. So we'll see how that plays out. But, you know, like I mentioned, there's no guarantee that it's going to go one direction or the other right now. You just have to wait for price to confirm. And if you do take this position right here, Ricardo, maybe move your stop loss and profit whenever you can, you know, because I don't necessarily know if it's going to continue up here or if it's going to retrace down here. It could literally go in either direction until the direction's been set. Once the market has, you know, gone back into full swing. This is barely the first day of market reopening, so it's going to move a little unusually, but eventually it'll probably smoothen out within the next week or so. So that's it for Eurocad right there. Let me see what we have next over here as well. Let me see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Hey, morning, Vishnu. Let's see. David, thanks for the reminder, David. So yeah, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can do us a favor and just like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that way we can continue to grow this channel and I can continue to trade live for you guys every day. You know, just like I mentioned, I do this completely free, guys. So I have better use of my time, but I don't mind coming on here with you guys as long as we're helping grow the channel. So if you guys haven't already, just go ahead and like the stream and maybe subscribe if you guys want to. And that'll definitely help this channel grow and it'll help me continue to go live for you guys every morning. So let me see if there's anything else here that we're missing. Varun said UK 100 trades are going through a rough patch right now. I agree. You know, it's just like I mentioned, it's a brand new year, guys. So like there's going to be a lot of unusual movements in the market. So like looking at UK 100 over here, it's just moving crazy, guys. I mean, obviously it was super bullish. Now it's just in consolidation now within this point. But this is expected, guys. This is normally how it moves, you know, within the new year. And you guys just have to be patient and weather the storm until it starts to move directional again. Because right now it's literally just going sideways, right? Just looking at UK 100 right here. It's pretty much just going sideways at this point until it, you know, breaks above or breaks below it. So let me go back to the list over here and see what else is going on. Let's see. Deswell said, I good trade, good trading strategy that I've been using. I think it was a typo for that as well. Been using to trade US 30 once it hits TP. I then trade K2 signals for the day if it hits stop loss. I don't trade anymore for the day. Yeah, exactly. That's good. So Deswell has like, you know, risk management strategy that he uses there. If you guys see it in the chat, and it's good for that as well, just to, you know, keep your account in line. Flynn said, good morning, K2. New year, new beginning. Let's get these profits. Definitely, Flynn. Flynn, you were in the session yesterday, so you saw everything that we went over. So it's been pretty good for the most part. David said, tough national lockdown possible for UK. I can see that happening, David, especially with the COVID numbers going up. I don't know if you guys saw, like, you know, there's some states in the US that didn't have much COVID restrictions, like in Miami. It's crazy over there. They had no mask policy and all that stuff. So you're going to see the COVID numbers go up like crazy. Let me go ahead and check COVID right now, actually. So let me just type in COVID. The COVID numbers are definitely going to go up from the holidays, guys, because everyone is traveling and it's just a lot of crazy stuff going on. So yeah, right here, we're up in California, we're up 2.43 million. Thankfully, nothing in my area here, Orange County. United States, a total of 202,000 increase. Worldwide, 85.2 million. So with all of these COVID numbers, it's going to increase obviously within the next couple of weeks because a lot of people are getting tested as they come back from the holidays. So with this said, it's going to affect the market, not just in the US, but, you know, throughout the world in general. So we'll see how this plays out, but it's not looking good for the next couple of weeks or so. All right, so Rob wants me to take a look at GU as well. So I've looked at Eurocad for Ricardo. I'm going to add you to the list, Rob. So Rob for GU over here. And let's see anything else over here as well. And JC said, thank you for the A1 value, Shawn. value provided is A1, Shawn. Thank you. Yeah, definitely, JC. Glad I could help. Don's asking, Shawn, don't you think it would increase the win rate for the UK 100 US 30 daily strategy if we only take the first valid signal in this session, but only the direction of the higher time frame trend? Not exactly, Don. Like if you know how like US 30 works, it doesn't respect the trend at all. It doesn't really respect technicals at all either. So like, for example, here, you can see that the trend right here was, obviously super bullish right here. And then it easily just breaks through it. If you guys understand how US 30 moves, it's all news based, right? So if something in the news is released, it'll dump or it'll shoot up at any point. It doesn't really respect technicals as much. So we don't really trade with the trend because during the New York session, it's all based off momentum and it's all news driven. So the thing is, if momentum is moving up, we're going to chase the momentum. It doesn't really matter what direction trend is moving. So let me show you, for example, here, like on the, for our entry last Friday. So we had an entry, let's mark up 630 over here. Okay, yeah, so for example, right here. So for example, over here, this was in a strong downtrend, right? It was in a strong downtrend. And if we were to do that, like you mentioned, if we were to follow the trend, so 630 was around here. So if we saw this first signal right here and we were trying to follow the trend, which was down, right? If we follow the trend in that direction, we would have missed this trade that we would have taken. So like right here, we would have missed this this buy entry for about 1,500 pips if we were to hold off on this, right? This is why we don't pay attention to the trend at all, because it's relevant for assets like US 30 because it's all news driven. So like this happened right here, and then we took this buy signal. If we were to follow the trend, and because it's a buy signal and it's trending down and we avoided it, we would have missed this trade. But obviously right here, it ended up shooting straight up to our full TP. So this is why we don't incorporate the trend for US 30. US 30 is completely different from Forex. For Forex, yeah, it's good to follow the trend because it's a ranging asset. It goes back and forth. So if you're taking a sell and it's going that direction, you can pretty much just ride that trend in that direction. However, for US 30, it's not the same. You can have it trending up very strong and then it dumps. You can have it trending down and it shoots in the opposite direction. So we don't really incorporate the trend for US 30 because it's a totally different asset. You really have to understand how indices move in order to trade it properly. So we don't necessarily trade in the direction of trend. We trade in the direction of momentum, because what we're doing is we're waiting for banks to make their move, and we just piggyback the ride in whatever direction that they're trading. And you can see right here, obviously, it doesn't really respect technicals, right? It comes in, just breaks through these structures without even giving it any thought. Like right here, price breaks through the structure, breaks through the structure. It's not like Forex where it'll get to a structure and it'll reject right off it, right? It'll come right back down. For US 30, it could break right through it, and then it'll just shoot right through it and then continue further. Like it'll break right through the structure right here. It doesn't even retest it, and it just keeps shooting up further, because it's all news driven for the most part. If there's something going on with COVID or there's something going on in the world, I don't know what's causing this huge drop right here, guys. Obviously it's dropping like crazy. Let me see if I could find out what's pushing that. There's always a reason behind the push in the market. So like right here, you can see that Dow slides more than 100 points after hitting a record high. So it hit an all-time high right here, and then it just starts dumping, right? So you can see right here that it doesn't necessarily respect that it was in an uptrend right here. It just ends up dumping like super hard. So that's why you kind of have to trade differently. A lot of people try to transfer like their strategy from Forex over to indices, but indices moves totally different in comparison to like other assets like Forex and other ranging pairs that we trade. So let me see real quick. Don said, I see, understand. That's probably why a lot of traders fail at trading US 30. Yeah, exactly, Don. A lot of people don't really understand how it moves because you can see right here, this is a huge drop, right? This drop was necessarily based off it reaching an all-time high, and for other specific reasons as well. So you can see right here that there's other reasons with regard to COVID. And there's a couple other things Dang, so Bitcoin's falling as well. I'm thinking about maybe selling off my Bitcoin. Let me check my my Bitcoin real quick to see where I'm at. Actually, it's really high. I don't know. I'm still at about 1400. It actually went high from yesterday. But yeah, there's a lot of things here that affect the indices market, Don, and it really depends on what's being published in the news. Obviously, a lot of people are selling off right here because this is a super all-time high, and that's why we didn't want to take a buy if it ended up appearing. So it's breaking right through these structures. It shot right through the structure. We thought it was a strong support. It shot right through, and it's going even farther to test even lower ends. I personally wouldn't chase this, guys, because this can easily reject off at any point right here, right? There's people that are waiting to buy the dip, and these are buy areas right here. Whenever it gets to these structures, people are buying the dip. So that's why you see these wicks right here. You can see price came down, people bought the dip right here, but then it kept shooting down further. And it's probably going to keep dropping up until, let me see if I could find a better zone for you guys. So if I go on the 1 hour right here, turn on the K2SR, we got a ton of zones right here. This is probably going to be the sweet spot right here for a buy. Or actually, it could even drop even further. So I'll just draw these zones right here so that we can identify, where these strong sweet spots are for buys. But I personally would not even think about getting into US 30 right now. This is probably going to be the end all be all right here at about 29,000. It might drop back down to like 30, or let me see where price currently is. Go back to the, oops, turn that off. Go back to the 10-minute. Looks like price can possibly drop down to, I wouldn't say drop down to 30,000. That's too far. Probably a little bit above it, maybe 30,200 around here. This should probably be the farthest point from today, because if it drops too much, guys, if you guys are familiar with like how circuit breakers work, if this drops too far, they're just going to close the market, or they're not going to close it, but they're going to freeze the market so that it stops dropping. And it's already dropped how many pips from today? So it's dropped about, it's already dropped about 3,000 pips, nearly 4,000 pips. If it gets to this point, this would be a 4,000 pip drop. I think if it drops down to like 6,000 pips farther down here, that's where they'll enable the circuit breakers to slow the market. Yeah, so it's about 5,000 pips right there. If price gets below this zone right here, they're just gonna freeze the market so that it stops dropping. And then at that point, people are gonna be buying the dip. So I'd hold tight right there, guys. I wouldn't trade it just yet. I would just be patient. I wouldn't want to take a sell right here. Obviously, I would rather take a buy, but you don't want to take it too early, obviously, right? You want to wait for price to actually have a momentum swing. Let me see if I could have that tool here. I don't have that tool here, but basically you want to wait for price to come, establish its low, and then catch the buy as it swings right back up, right? Because it's going to come back up. The Dow can only drop so far until it recovers, unless like the world goes to shit and then it just keeps dropping. But I don't see that happening here, guys. It's just people right here speculating, taking short positions, but I think it's going to, people are going to buy the dip right here at some point. If not here, maybe down here, but at the last point down here around 30,000, this would probably be no man's land right here. So we'll continue to keep looking at this, guys. And then I will check for this a little later. So let me see if there's anything else. Here's Renko over here. Hey guys, Renko finally joined the chat. Renko, what happened to that sell that you called on Friday, bro? You called a sell right here, but it went straight bullish. Renko's called the sell right here, and it shot like 4,000 pips above and hit our full TP. So Renko, if you look at the trade that we called on Friday over here, your amateur sell call that you called, we actually hit full TP right there, Renko. So, obviously our trade won and yours probably didn't, but next time send a chart, Renko, because you always call sell, you always call trades, but you never share a chart. And the last two trades that you called didn't do what you said. Obviously, it went the opposite. And I'm always open. Okay, Renko. All right, Renko, that's cool. Yeah, Renko, it's all good, man. If you made profit, it's all good. I'm not trying to downplay your trade. It's just that every call that you made it didn't play out like you said, and then it hit our full TP over here. All right, Ranko, that's cool. I'm gonna keep going on because you called trades like last week, and yeah, that's cool, Ranko. All right, I'm gonna keep going on over here. Jake Collins, Ranko, I like your attitude, man. Yeah. I mean, Ranko, you go back and look at the chat. You were in the chat on Friday. You called a sell, but it ended up going straight bullish, right? So we hit our full TP over here. So I don't know what you have to say to that, right? You said to call a sell somewhere over here, and then it ended up going straight up. So I don't know. You guys can go ahead and rewatch our chat from our session from Friday. Ranko was calling a sell over here, and then it ended up hitting our full TP. And then now he's over here saying that, hey, amateurs made my profits. All right, Ranko, that's cool. I mean, if you made your profits, that's all that matters. But like, I don't care if you took a sell or anything, but it hit our full TP. So it actually, our trade actually played out. Yeah. Razul said, let's trade opposite of Ranko. We make bucks. Yeah, no, exactly. Ranko, let me know which way you like to trade so I can just take the opposite position. And then we'll hit our full TP. But it's all a joke, Ranko. I'm not trying to like I'm not trying to any of that stuff. Yeah, like I said, he's such a professional advisor here. I know, because we asked Ranko for his charts last week, and he's like, "No, I'm a pro trader, but no charts were being sent." So I mean, it's all good, Ranko. If you made profit, it's all good. I don't care. But we made even more profit, right? We hit full TP here for our trade. So I mean, it's all that matters to us. We don't care if like you took the opposite position, but in reality, if we both won, then we both won. But next time, show a chart. Just don't just say you're a pro trader or that you're a real trader and then not actually give any analysis, because you just called a random sell. You're like, oh, sell US 30. Obviously, anyone could say to sell US 30, right? Walter said he's a broken clock, Shawn, taking credit when he's right, but normally wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's all good, Ranko. We're all here to learn, but the thing is, when you call trades, you just call random trades. You're like, oh, take a sell, but no analysis, no chart, no nothing. And then we hit full TP, and then you're over here calling us amateurs when we hit full TP. So it's really up to you. If you're such a pro, Ranko, I don't know why you're in my room, bro. You're in my room every day trying to learn from me, but you're calling opposite trades, and we still hit full TP. So it's just, I have nothing against you. It's just if you wanna call trades, give some actual analysis. Don't just call trades like, oh, here, take a sell, and then we're like, Ranko, send your chart, and you're like, no, I don't need to send a chart. I trade charts. Yeah, I mean, it's all good, bro. Ranko, you're welcome here. We're not trying to make fun of you, but it's just like you call trades all the time and they all flop, and we ask you for your charts, but you never send your charts. So if you're not going to send your charts, then there's no point in calling a trade. Bar said, please look for gold ones. Yeah, no, definitely, bro. I got that on the list next. So let's see. We have Razul's EG over here. We have Kushi's Nzdchf, Cali's gold, JC's Nasdaq, Brian's Euro odd, the producer's EJ, Zephyr's JPY 225, John's US oil, CAD JPY, and Rob's GU. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at all of these over here, and then we will we'll go ahead and look further. So it's all good, guys. I mean, we're just having fun here with Ranko, because Ranko comes in the room all the time and makes calls. But we don't care about calls, Ranko. We care about actual analysis, right? If you have a trade that you want us to look at, or if you have some sort of idea, if you have a chart, that's completely fine, because it's fine to have opposite opinions, right? You don't have to go in one direction every time. You can go opposite of me. It's just, if you're gonna, make a call, at least give a chart or explain why you're making that call. Don't just say, oh, sell US 30 when it's way down here, because it obviously went the opposite direction. So yeah, if you guys have any opposite opinions of mine, it's completely fine. We're here to learn. So if you guys want to share your ideas, go ahead and share your ideas, and then we can both look at it. So we'll go ahead and take a look over here, and then we will continue. going further, because we do have a bunch of questions. I'm not trying to hold anyone back right now. So let's see. JC said, are we going to look into US 30 at 10:30? Yeah, JC. So we'll keep looking at US 30. If we do end up getting that buy signal. So what I'm waiting for here, this is what I'm waiting for, guys. I'm waiting for us to probably get a false signal, because it's probably going to drop even further. So it's going to drop further. We might get a false buy signal where it comes up. And then at that point, we might get a valid sell signal, and then we can take that trade. But if it does run too late, so JC, if it runs past 11:30 over here, then we will, we might skip it at this point, because it's gonna have a market. Like once we get to this point right here, market's gonna close here at 1500 hours. So it's only a small window right here for us to take a trade. What's probably going to happen here is, so if you guys are familiar with how the market moves from session to session, basically 630s right here, what generally happens is there's like two waves in the market. The first wave will move this direction, and then as we get halfway through the market, it'll reverse in the other way. So this might be what happens here. It might come down a little further, and then it'll eventually swing the other way. So if you guys look at the chart over here, that's usually what always happens. Like right here, for example, actually, this is not going to be a good example from last week because it was a holiday, but I'll just show you, for example, over here, if I can see where it played out. So like, for example, right here, 6:30 on the 29th and then 11. So this is basically what happens. There's usually like two waves in the market. Right here, you can see price comes down. It's a huge drop, right? And then once we get to like 10 o'clock, that's when it reverses in the other direction. See what happened right here on the 29th? That's kind of what I see happening over here as well. I see it coming down. And then as we get to mid-market right here, it's probably going to swing right back up because it moves in two waves each session. This is like on the 29th. And then again over here on the 28th. I'm showing you guys an example here of what I see happening, guys. This isn't necessarily what I think is going to happen, but this is what possibly will happen. So same situation right here. Price initially swings up, it swings back down, and then midway through US session, it swings right back in the other direction, right? So it has two waves. It swings up. The first wave, it begins from here around 7 o'clock. So it swings down and then it swings back up. Same situation right here. It swings down and then it swings up. So for here as well, this is kind of what I see happening here. I see the first wave happening right here where it swings down, and then it'll either swing up from this point. So it might start from here, which is the manipulated move when the market opened. And then what might happen here is it could either swing up from this point, if it swings a little early before 11, and then it might swing right back down, right? So this is one scenario where it swings up where price currently is. Scenario number two is where it can continue down a little further and then swing up from there, right? So it can go in either direction. It's just that depending on where time is at that time, at that specific price point, it can go in either direction. So we'll keep an eye on this. I have my alert set up, and we will continue going back to this as we go further. Let me go ahead and continue down here and see if there's any other questions before we go a little further. Let me see. I don't want to miss anything before we continue. Peter said people who call trades without markups are just copying someone else's call and posting them as their own. I agree. We have one dislike. That's probably Renko right there that disliked it because he's mad because everyone's calling him out. Let's see. What's the percentage of lower circuit? I'm not sure exactly, Varun. So if you look back at the previous data, so he's asking about the circuit breakers for US 30. So if you look back at US 30 over here in the past, if you look back to when the shutdown was happening for COVID, like right here in March, right? So if I go down to the daily, actually, you can see right here, price dropped a certain amount. So like in February, it dropped about it dropped a whole lot. Like it dropped like 30,000 pips, right? So it dropped like 10,000 pips and circuit breakers went off. I think that's generally the sweet spot for the circuit breakers to go off. It drops a whole lot. It'll drop like 10,000 pips, the circuit breakers will stop price from moving, and it just keeps dropping until they can stop the drop. So like you can see right here, every time it dropped, it kind of froze. Like the market froze for a little bit. You can see the gap right here, right? So price dropped and then it gapped for a second for about 400, 500 pips or 3,000, 5,000 pips at this point, and then it continued down further. So I'm not sure exactly what, let me see if I could search it up actually. US 30 circuit breaker. Let's see if we find it. Okay, so we got this over here. All right, so what's the circuit breaker rule? Market is triggered circuit breaker that kept. See, like this is what I was talking about right here. If you guys want to Google it, it'll give you a more detailed response. So like right here, the S&P fell 7% in March, and that's what triggered the circuit breaker, which pretty much froze the market. Same situation with the Dow over here, dropped about 7.3%. It froze the market. I think currently right now, it's only about, let me see how many it just dropped. Yeah, it's only about, it's not even 1% yet. It's 0.075%. So I don't think the circuit breakers are going to get set just yet because it hasn't dropped far enough. If it drops down here, then that's when it's going to be like at 1 to 3%. At that point, it'll probably, people start to keep an eye on it. I think if it drops way down here, this will be about maybe 4%. And then at that point, the circuit breakers will probably get kicked in. So once it drops below 30,000, that's where you can probably look out for the circuit breakers, but I don't think it's going to drop that far today. There's nothing crazy going on, right? Not like a war just started around the world or something, or, the US is going through something like COVID. It's just, this is normal movement as the market has reopened. So just keep that in mind. If you want to look at circuit breakers, just Google like circuit breaker, US 30 circuit breaker, and then it gives you the details here of how that works. I think it's about 7%. So we have a long way to go before it reaches that point. So let me just go back to the questions over here. I just want to go through the analysis because we are getting a little out of hand over here with everyone kind of just going off. And then we'll see what else is there to look at over here. Jay said, okay, I'm gonna stop. Rango kind of asked for was like, well, we said we all respect each other here, definitely. Thanks everyone. Okay, cool. So Citi said that UK 100 hit TP1. So I'm not sure if you guys give the, okay, there we go. This isn't my call. This is one of the London group's calls. So they called UK 100 right here at about 2 a.m. this morning. It's a London entry, and they hit TP1 for about 200 pips. So if you guys took that, some nice profit off there. Unfortunately, I didn't take it. I wish I took it, but looks good at that point. All right, the producer. Yeah, I still got you on the list to produce for EJ. So we're going to take a look at that. And it looks like we're good. All right, so let me go ahead and continue on with our questions over here. We have, let me see. Next one up is Razul's EG. So let me go over to EG real quick, and I'll analyze that for you guys from scratch. So here we got EG over here. I'm going to go ahead and delete everything off the chart. Zoom out from this point, delete that. And here we have a naked chart. So from this point, I'm going to turn on my K²SR indicator. And then I'm going to draw my zones on the chart for you guys. All right, so we got that right there. I'm going to draw this upper zone over here. Got this right here. So you guys can see how easy it is to draw these zones if you guys have the K2 indicators. You can literally draw all your zones within a few seconds. And then from there, you guys will be pretty much good to go with analyzing any specific pair. So I have these lined up right there. Have that lined up right there. Looks good for the most part. I'm going to go turn off the K²SR indicator, zoom out from this point, and you guys can see right there we have these zones. So from there, I'm going to turn on my momentum indicator. And just looking at EG right here, price broke structure. So you can see price, we had a bullish momentum right here. You can see that there was a nice, let me see if there's got the ellipses right there. We have a nice rejection off this point. It was followed by a bullish momentum signal right here. And then on top of that, we had price break structure right here. So for one over here, we had a rejection off this point. We had a bullish signal and then price broke structure. So from this point, I anticipated to push up further and test this structure up here, right? So if you were to take this trade right here, Razul, I'm not sure if you took EG for a buy, but if you did, you can pretty much write it up here for full TP for about 40 pips, right? So this could be good right there. And this is what I anticipate happening at this point. You guys can see, for example, here, this is the trade that I anticipate playing out. It played out exactly right here as well. So looking at this right here, it's the same exact setup where we have the rejection off this point, a bullish buy signal plus a break structure, similar to what happened right here, right? And then what happened after that? It pushed up to this structure over here, and then it did the same thing the opposite direction. So right here, we had another rejection off this zone, followed by a sell signal where it broke structure. And then what happened from that point? It went down to test this structure, broke through it, and then went down to here. So it pretty much just repeats itself. You know, if you guys can identify these structures and identify the direction of momentum using the K2 indicators, you guys can see exactly where price is going to go. You can see right here that it's pretty much repeated itself X amount of times, right? Even again, right here, price broke structure. And it just pretty much just does the same thing over and over again. So like right here, rejection off that point. We have our sell signal right here. Price broke the structure right here. And then what happened from that point? It went down to the next structure. So if you guys know how to identify these key parts on the chart, you guys can take these trades very easily. Same situation with EG right now. I think it's going to be bullish. It's probably going to test this structure up here. So that's pretty much what I see happening right here for EG. You know, unfortunately, I didn't call this trade because I was being careful with how the market is moving right now. And this is pretty much, you know, what we see happening right here from this point. So EG right here, I anticipate to shoot up, hit the structure right here. Once it hits the structure, it can do one of two things. It can either break through it and continue further to test this structure, or it can reject off this point. So that's why we have our TP right here. That way we can hit full TP and get out of the trade. And then if it breaks structure again, we can enter another buy. Or if it reverses, we can enter a sell like we did right here, hit it both ways and hit full TP for a buy and for a sell if it ends up reversing off this point. So that's pretty much what I see happening right here for EG. And it looks good if you're in a buy, Razul. I'm assuming you're in a buy because if you're using the K2 indicators in our strategies, then you identified exactly what I saw right here, right? You identified the rejection, the bullish momentum, breaking structure, full anticipation for it to test this next structure up here. So that's it for EG right there. Next up, we have Nzdchf. Let me see if there's anything else. I'm just gonna go through the chat real quick, guys, see if I'm missing anything else over here. And then we can continue on. Flynn said every year US 30 goes up at the end of the year, then beginning of the following year it drops. Exactly, Flynn. That's the history that I identified last week. And that's why we anticipated that buy last week and then now this huge drop. So check this out, guys. It's dropping super heavy. But like I mentioned, guys, I don't recommend chasing this drop right here because what's probably going to happen is as soon as you enter that trade, it's going to shoot right back up, right? Because people are buying the dip once it reaches these zones right here. So I'd be careful if you're entering US 30. I just don't think it's worth the risk, guys. If you guys are trying to enter this for a sell right here, chasing this drop right here, and you know, pretty much getting lured into this huge drop, and then when you least expect it, it's just going to skyrocket right back up. So I wouldn't take the sell right now. I would just wait for the for price to hit a floor, and then once it hits the floor, then you could probably take that buy. But I personally wouldn't enter it right now because it's just it's pretty much you're just catching a what's called a falling dagger. You know, it's like putting your hand right here, trying to catch this as it stops, and then it ends up going right through your hand. So keep that in mind, guys. I wouldn't risk it, and I wouldn't risk trading this right now as well because you see this crazy volatility. Here's the problem: if you enter a buy position. So say if you enter a buy position, right, you want to take a speculative buy right here and you have your stop loss right here. If price ends up spiking right through it, then there might be slippage. And at that point, it won't trigger your stop loss and you're going to be in a massive loss. So I wouldn't gamble this because it's moving around too fast right now. And you don't want to get caught in some slippage or you're going to end up with a blown account. I'm sure you guys have seen that picture that's been sent in the group before. Let me see if I could find it over here. I showed it to you guys last week. Caught. So there was a picture here. Okay, so this is what happened with slippage, right? If you chase money like this where it's dropping too low, you can see what happened to this guy right here. He, it's not open. Let me see if I could. I mean, you guys could kind of see. Let me see if I can find a better picture. Okay, so what happened with this guy was, so he put a stop loss right there, right, for GU when it was like dropping before, and then he put a 25 pip stop loss, and then it broke right through it where he had slippage. He ended up going from negative. I think he had 25 pip stop loss, so his loss was probably like a couple $100, maybe $1,000. It went through a stop loss, and he went into negative 21,000. And at this point, if you're trading this with a certain broker, like if you're trading with a regulated broker or a certain broker that will hold you on the hook for it, you're pretty much screwed because you're gonna have to owe that money when you close your trade. If you're using an unregulated broker, then it's fine because they'll just you just create a new account or you just use a new broker, right? But if you're using a certain broker that keeps you on the hook, you might be on the hook for that amount of money if you end up closing a little too late. So that's why I never recommend that you enter a trade that late because it's just way too risky. Here's UK 100 again, guys. It just hit TP2 for 400 pips. So if you guys took this UK 100 trade over here, you guys are at TP2 on the way to full TP. So should be good at this point. But yeah, so like let's see what else we got over here, and I'm going to continue down further. Let me see if there's any other questions before I continue further. Velocity said I got a strategy you may be interested in. Definitely Velocity. We'll talk about that later. Oh, nice. And he said, you were right about gold. Glad I didn't short. Definitely. So if I look at gold, I think it skyrocketed up, right? Just like I mentioned last week, because I marked it up last week. It did exactly what I said, right? It shot up right above it. And this was our first scenario right here. So it did exactly what we thought. And it's probably going to continue up even further. So let me continue down this chat real quick, and I'll continue analyzing the other pairs that you guys asked for. Let me see if there's any other questions here. Kira is asking, what broker do you use? I use Forex.com for my Forex trades, and then I use FTMO for my US 30. So it really depends on what you want to use. I never recommend unregulated brokers. So if you do want to trade like the same way I'm trading, I trade only on regulated brokers. I do trade a personal account for US 30 on Hugo's Way, but it's not something I'd recommend. I only use it because I understand the risk. But I'm always going to recommend that you use a regulated broker. Sisuk, I saw your message before you retracted it. Let's see if there's anything else here that we missed. Dennis is asking, is it okay to take a trade if it breaks inside the structure from another zone? Granted the TS. Yeah, definitely, Dennis. So looking at something over here, what was I just looking at? So like, for example, let me see if I could find an example somewhere. So if the zone is really big, Dennis, let me see if I could find one over here where the zone is like huge. If there's a big zone, so price like closes within the zone, but the zone's huge, then yeah, you can take the trade because it's a big move within that specific zone. You just got to make sure that there's no other zones that are too close or too far from it. Let me see if I could find a big zone over here. For example, like right here, right? So we had a sell signal, it closed in the structure right here. So price broke structure again. It closed within this structure. You can pretty much ride this to the next structure down here. And then same situation down here, price breaks the structure. You can ride it down to the next structure down here. So you can trade within structures. You just got to make sure that the structure is big enough for you to make a profit within it. If it's too close, like something like this, I'd wait for it to break through it instead of it, you just going through the small little movement here. So let me keep going on because I think I'm missing a bunch of questions here. Flynn said, we don't need to chase trades. We trade when we have a good setup, not when we're feeling the FOMO. Exactly, Flynn, 100%. Braden said, I'm hearing about a nationwide lockdown for UK. I could see that happening as well because I think they did go into lockdown for a couple of weeks last month, right? Peter said, Shawn, I have a strategy I want to run by you. Buy low, sell high. What do you think? Exactly, right? If only it was that easy. Amar said, is gold going up? It's having a pullback. So I'm going to analyze gold soon, Amar. I have that question lined up next after Nzdchf for Kushi, and then we'll look into that for a more deeper look. Cameron said, what the heck happened to US 30? Crapped itself. Yeah, exactly. It's dumping like crazy. And I don't recommend you guys chase the trade because like I mentioned, it's moving too crazy right now. You might get caught in some slippage. So that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the pairs that you guys asked for, and then we'll continue further. So the next pair I'm going to look at is Nzdchf for Kushi. Sorry it took so long. I know we have a bunch of questions today, so I'm going to go ahead and analyze this real quick before we continue moving forward. So here we are right here. I have these zones lined up from yesterday, but I'll just redraw them again so you guys can see what I do here. I'm going to delete this, turn on the K2SRs, and then draw my zones at this point so you guys can see how I draw everything from scratch. So looking at this right here, I'm just going to connect these two zones right there. Connect that zone right there. That zone right there. All right, Kushi. So looking at Nzdchf right here, I have my zones drawn. I'm gonna hide the K2SR. And then you guys can see from this point, I've identified the nice rejection points within the chart. So once we've identified this, I'm gonna turn on my momentum indicator. You can see right here, we have a pending sell momentum, right? If this closes within the next 2 hours, we have 2 hours left on this candle. If it closes below here and it's a sell signal, then odds are it's probably going to continue down further, right? And then when it breaks below this structure down here, odds are it's probably going to continue down even further. So what I do see right now is since we do have this pending sell signal, I would have a sell bias for that specific reason. But I would have to wait for it to close below the structure, because what could happen here is if it doesn't close below the structure and hits this right here, it can always reject off it. That's why you want to make sure to wait for it to close below here, below this point, before you take a short position, because the last thing you want to do is enter a short position right there and then it ends up reversing on you, right? And that happens all the time. So I would wait for this to close with that sell signal and close below the structure before you take a sell. Vice versa, if this doesn't close here and then it swings right back up and closes above here without that sell signal, then the previous signal is a buy signal, right? So then we would take a buy from that point. So scenario number one is price either closes below here with this sell signal, then you could take a sell. Scenario number two is price rejects off this point and then closes above here with this buy signal intact without this closing, then you would take a buy entry that way. So price can go either way, but like I mentioned, you should be very patient and just wait for the actual position to, what's it called? To present itself, because you don't want to enter this trade just yet. You have to wait for this candle to close in 2 hours. So you have a lot of time for it to either close below here or swing back up and close above here. But until one of those things happens, so key thing to look for is sell signal, close below here, then you take a sell. Vice versa, if you see a rejection off this point and it closes above here with no sell signal, then you would take a buy. So those are the two scenarios to look out for Nzdchf. We'll see how this plays out. Maybe I can take a look at it once we get close to market close. And then from that point, we can identify it further. So that's it for Nzdchf. Next question is gold for Cali. So let me go ahead and pull up gold real quick. There's a bunch of people here asking for gold, so I'll take a look at that as well for you guys. This is what I drew up last week. So scenario one was price break this structure and continue up further. That's exactly what happened right here. Scenario number two was price would get to this point, reject off it, but that didn't happen. So we can go ahead and delete this right here. And now currently at this point, I'll go ahead and redraw the zone so you guys can see what we did here. Delete everything off the chart. Zoom out from this point, turn my K2SRs over here. Open up this right here. This point over here. This point right there. Let's connect this big one over here. And then this one right here as well. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and take a look at a higher zone for here as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this right there and this upper zone right over there. So there we go. I've drawn all my zones right here. If I go ahead and turn this off, you guys can see that we have some nice rejection points right here, right? So everything's lined up pretty much perfectly. I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator. We do have a bullish momentum right here. So I told you guys that once price broke this structure right here, we continue up further, right? Now that it's broken this structure right here, what do you think is going to happen at this point? I think it's going to continue up even further and test this structure right there. So I think it's going to continue to be bullish until it reaches this point over here because it's already broken structure. What could happen is price will probably shoot up from this point, test this structure. And then once it gets to that point, it can do one of two things. It can either continue up further from this point, or it can reject off this point right here. However, if you guys have been following the news and have been following my analysis for the past month or so, I've called this bullish move from way back here in November. The reason for that is because of the stimulus, right? So stimulus was released somewhere over here. That's what caused a bullish move. Actually, no, stimulus was released somewhere around here, early December. So once they continue their talks of the stimulus, it shot up. Then I think Trump, didn't want to sign it, so it came down, and then stimulus was finally paid out, and from that point, it shot up from here. So with that said, the U.S. just keeps printing U.S. dollars, right? If you guys follow fundamentals, when the U.S. prints U.S. dollars, what happens to the U.S. dollar? It weakens, right? Because with more U.S. dollars being printed, it devalues the value of the U.S. dollar. So at this point, with COVID going on, with US dollars being printed, the US dollar is just going to keep getting weaker and weaker. And what are people going to do with their money? They're going to put it in safe haven currencies like gold right here. So with that said, if price is going up, that means that the first currency is gaining in strength against the second currency, right? Vice versa, if price is going down, like it's going down over here, this means that the second currency is gaining in strength against the first currency. So right here, just following fundamentals and technical analysis together, we can anticipate gold to continue up further and test this structure up here at about 1961.69. And then at that point, the two scenarios can play out. It can either break above it and continue further, or it can reject off the structure and either range within here before swinging back up, or continuing in this range until it decides to choose a direction. So that's pretty much what I see happening right here for gold. On top of that, lastly, what I like to look at is the IG sentiment for gold to see where everyone's trading. Odds are there's probably a lot of long traders right now, right? Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are long right now, 77%. So what I see happening right now, because there's so many people long, this is probably not going to shoot up right away. What's probably going to happen is they're not going to make that easy for people to just make money off gold, right? They're going to mess with people. So probably what's going to happen here is it'll probably go sideways. It'll probably swing down a bit. Maybe go sideways from here. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to shake out these buyers, right? There's too many buyers here, 77%. If they keep pushing price up, the banks and institutions aren't going to make money from these people right here. They want to take these people's money, so they want to shake them out. They want to push price sideways, swing it down, stop everyone out. Because look, if people are entering this trade right here, odds are, where's their stop loss going to be? Right there, right? They're going to swing it straight to stop loss, stop them out, and then they're probably going to swing it back up and keep messing with these people. They're going to keep doing that, swing it back down, stop them out again, and then probably go sideways for a bit, and then maybe dump it a little further, and then eventually it'll come right back up, right? So this is something that you want to look out for. Keep in mind that you don't want to trade where everyone else is trading, because this is the opposite of what banks are doing. They're doing the opposite of where everyone's trading. So I would stay away from gold right now. Honestly, I personally would stay away from gold. If you missed this move already, it's too late. You guys should have taken the buy right here when I mentioned it, I think last week. Or no, it was down here actually. I mentioned it was going to go sideways and then swing up. So if you go back to our webinar from like the 30th of last week, you'll see that I mentioned this, that they're probably going to move things sideways to shake these people out like they're doing again right now before they shoot it up right away. Because they're not just going to let people take buys and then just, have a free free profit right there. They're going to make it difficult for people to really make profit off here before they actually shoot it up to where it's supposed to go. Overall, I think it's going to be bullish, but you're probably going to see some like unusual movements right here until we get to that point. So I'd be careful with gold. I personally don't trade gold for this specific reason. It's highly manipulated because everyone knows it's going to go up, right? It's common sense that gold is going to go up. So I would be very careful with it because you don't want to get caught in any drawdown, especially if you're trading with like a high lot size. So just keep that in mind, guys. Other than that, let me keep moving on forward. So we looked at gold right here. Let me see if there's any other pairs that I should be looking at currently. All right, so we're done with gold. For JC, I'm going to take a look at Nasdaq. Let me see if I can pull that up now. That's pretty much what we got for gold. Move over to Nasdaq. Let's see what's going on. It looks like Nasdaq is dropping today, right? Man, look at that. Huge drop right there. So it looks like the Nasdaq is down. Let me look at CNBC real quick. Yeah, it looks like everything is down right now. US 30 is down 1%. S&P is down 0.80%. Nasdaq's down 0.53%. Everything's pretty much down for the most part, aside from the VIX. So looking at Nasdaq right here, I'm going to go ahead and redraw these zones for you guys so that you guys can see, what areas we're looking out for. And I think someone asked earlier if I always draw the zones on the 1 hour. And I do for the indices because they move a lot faster. For Forex, I draw it on the 4 hour because it's a different type of asset. If we were to draw zones on the 4 hour for indices, it probably would have been like way too far from current price. So that's why it's kind of relevant to draw it so far out if you're planning on trading within a certain zoned area. So yeah, just looking at Nasdaq right here, obviously for all indices, we usually have a bullish bias for it. So I'm just going to look at it from that point. But yeah, looking at Nasdaq right here, it hit a very strong support point. So at this point right here, you can see it's tested it 1, 2, 3, 4 times now. So this is a quadruple test right here. So at this point, price can either continue down further so scenario number 1 is it breaks through the structure and then it continues down further, right? That's scenario number 1. This is like what could possibly happen if this continues to drop further. Scenario number 2 is price rejects off the structure and continues swinging back up. The only problem with a Nasdaq right here is that it's at an all-time high. Similar to US 30 over here, it was at an all-time high, so people sold off. Same situation with Nasdaq over here. It's at an all-time high right here. So people sold off, right? But what's going to happen here is people are going to try to buy that dip. So depending on where people want to buy that dip, it's probably going to happen right here, or it can happen down here, or it can happen down here. So I would be careful with any indices right now. I wouldn't chase it because it's just going to depend on where it goes. I wouldn't chase it down because people are probably going to buy the dip. I also wouldn't just buy at any point because it can continue dropping quite a bit before it actually continues any further. So I would stay away from the indices right now. I would wait for some stabilization in the market or until floor has been established, because the last thing you want to do is enter a buy and then it ends up dropping further, right? It stops you out. Vice versa, you don't want to enter a sell and then it ends up people buying the dip and it ends up shooting back up from there, right? So keep in mind that that's what's possibly going to happen here. You can get lucky and chase it in one direction, but you can also get very unlucky and it ends up reversing as soon as you enter the trade. So I would be careful with Nasdaq and any other indice right now, because there's just there's just a lot of different possibilities that can happen with not just Nasdaq, but with US 30 as well. So same situation right here. It's broken the structure. So if we continue following US 30, let me go ahead and just redraw this right here. It looks like we're not going to have an entry for US 30 today, guys, just because of how price is moving. So we do have this lower structure. I'm just going to, I don't plan on taking these trades, but I'm just drawing these structures to identify, where the buy zones are. for this specific pair. I'm just gonna draw one big zone down here because these two basically connect with each other. So yeah, guys, looking at US 30 right here, there's a couple of different buy zones right here. It's at the support, but it can easily break right through it and then either reject off that point, or it can continue dropping up until Asia session and it'll swing up from there. But it looks like, yeah, it looks like, okay, it's already broken the structure right here. You know, if this continues to drop like that, I might just, you know, enter a small position at some point down here or even down here, and then just pretty much ride that up. Because if you look at this right here, if it's a pushback from this point, it's like 5,000 pips, 6,000 pips. If you were to buy from this point right here, that's like 7,000 pips. If you were to buy down from way down here, it's going to be like 13,000 pips. So I would hold off first. No, I just hold off. It's breaking this this buy zone right here. We have another one down here and another one down here as well. So I'll go ahead and take a look at that later. Otherwise, let me keep going down the list right here and see the other question that you guys have. So I've looked at Nasdaq right there. Vishnu said, yo guys, who should I message to get in the London chat? So Vishnu, you can message like Mark, Jazz, Alkin, Spencer, any of the guys that post the UK trade. So if you look here, it'll show who posts these trades right here. So Alkin's the one that's been posting the updates. Oh, nice. Full TP for UK 100 guys. Congrats to you guys who took that trade this morning. So I'm just going to post it up over there. Yeah, so great call for that, Alkin, you know, for the London group over here. Vishnu, if you want to get access to that group, just message any of the London guys. So we have Mark over here. It's either Mark, Alkin, Jazz, Spencer, or John. I mean, there's a couple other people that can add you in, but I think Jazz is probably the most active right now. He just posted right here. And yeah, oh wow, some nice profits, guys. So like right here, we had this right here. Chelsea locked in some nice profit off that, 1,374. David over here locked in some nice profit off that as well, about 1,000. Everyone locked in some nice profits off that UK 100 trade, guys. Congrats if you guys took it. You know, if not, catch the one tomorrow. There'll be more. So looks good over here, guys. Nice, nice. Yeah, a lot of you guys killed it this morning. So a lot of you guys started the trading week off in some deep profit. If you guys ended up taking that specific trade there. But all right, so let me keep going down the list over here, see if there's any other questions before we continue. Razul said this may be a dumb question. Is the price of US 30 dependent on the underlying companies listed in the US 30? Yeah, Razul. So basically here, let me show you real quick. Let me see if I can find it over here. Dow 30 index, CNBC. So looking at this right here, this is what affects the Dow. So basically all the stocks in the Dow are super red right now, right? So that's why it's dropping like crazy. All of these companies are not doing great right now. So all of these combined as a whole is the Dow index. So if all of them go down, then the Dow's going to go down. If all of them go up, the Dow's going to go up. So the price, you know, the price total of the Dow is going to be, yeah, basically based off these specific assets. But the Dow 30 is like a feature. So it's a compilation of all these assets. It's not necessarily all of these combined. Like, you know, if you add these numbers together, it's not going to be that. It's a separate asset, but it is dependent on the specific assets that are located within the Dow. So same with NASDAQ, same situation right here. You can see all of them are kind of red for the most part. So if they're all red, that's why it's dropping right now as well. So just keep that in mind if you're like looking at, you know, that specific asset and wondering how it moves and whatnot. So let me go ahead and continue down over here, and then I'll keep going down the questions even further. Nice. So Billy locked in some nice profit. He said he locked in. He has a little duck emoji. He said that he took partials at TP2, let a runner go, and he's just letting his trail stop run through. So he secured 900 and got 400 running. Nice, nice. Some nice profit off that, Billy. Yeah, because it moved, I think, about 600 pips. So you locked in at 900, and then you're continuing down even further, which is a really good, it's a really good call right there. Because if it keeps dropping from this point, I mean, you guys could be in for even more profit off there. So good work on that trade, guys. Let me continue on with the questions over here. So we have one question over here with Brian with Euro Odd. So looking at Euro Odd right here, dude, I'm in total drawdown from last night. You know, unfortunately, I didn't close it right here at TP2 because I was asleep last night. Or this was, where was this taken? Yeah, so we took this trade, and unfortunately, I fell asleep and I didn't close it out in profit. So I'm in some heavy drawdown on this trade from yesterday. If you guys saw that we were talking about this trade, you know, unfortunately, it happened. This is my bad right here. This is my live account. I'm in some serious drawdown. Well, no, it's not that serious. I'm in some drawdown right here for Euro Odd. You know, unfortunately, I didn't pay attention last night. I should have closed out in profit. And now I'm in some drawdown, which is fine, guys, because losses happen. So I'm being 100% transparent with you guys. I took this trade with you guys yesterday. It was just it was a speculative trade. I didn't call this in the signals because I told you guys that it's a very risky trade. You know, unfortunately, I slept on it and I didn't exit right here. Let me see how much profit I had. I was in profit about like 50 pips. Yeah, 60 pips right here. I could have closed it in profit, but I just let it run overnight. And now I'm in some drawdown, which is fine, guys, because this is a small loss. You know, I'm down like 400, 500 bucks, but it's cool because I make it back with like one other trade. And that's just how the game works. You know, for me, when I have a loss, even if it's a big loss like this, it doesn't affect me because I know that I'm going to bounce back with the next trade. It's not going to make or break my account if I take one loss off this trade. But looking at Euro Odd over here, let me see if we could see something, because I definitely think it's going to come down. Like I mentioned yesterday, I see all of the AUD pairs to be bullish, but today they're bearish because they were bullish for a long time. So they're bullish from December up until now, and then it went through some retracement, right? Same situation with Nzdchf, super bullish, then some retracement. Same with JPY, bullish, retracement. Same with NZD, and the same with USD right here as well. They're all going through the same cycle right now where they've had a bullish move and then now they're retracing downwards. This was a dumb move by myself because obviously I should have closed out in profit right here, you know, but I fell asleep. So I just ended up letting it run. And here I am with some drawdown, which is completely fine, guys. Because even if I do take a loss on this trade, I'm going to bounce back on the next one. So it doesn't really affect me all that much that I'm stuck in this right here, because this was a dumb mistake on my part. I should have paid more attention to it. And, you know, I'm just gonna have to pay the price at this point, which is fine. So looking at Euro Odd right here, let me go ahead and I'll pull it up on a clean chart actually, or let me just analyze it from this point. I just don't want to mess up the zones because I already have them lined up. But looking at this right here, if this closes with a buy signal, then it's probably going to continue pushing up further. However, like I mentioned, price is just being manipulated right now as market reopens from the weekend. So from this point right here, I think eventually it's going to swing back down. It's going to swing back down, but until then, it's just going to keep messing around until the market just goes back to how it's supposed to be moving, right? Because right here, you can see that this is still a pending buy signal. If this doesn't close with the buy signal, which I hope it doesn't, because I don't want to be caught in this trade. If it doesn't close, we have about 2 hours left on this candle. If this doesn't close with the buy signal, then odds are I can swing right back down, close below here, and then drop even further from that point. So it'll just keep going down further and correct to where it's supposed to go. Like I mentioned right now, the market, oops, I shouldn't delete that. Yeah, since the market just opened from the weekend plus from the holiday closure, it's going to have some, you know, irregular movement. So like right here, price came down. Obviously, it's in a strong downtrend, right? So if I go ahead and draw these right here, it's in a strong downtrend. So at this point right here, I think this is just, you know, a small little retracement upwards, and then it'll probably swing right back down eventually. So if I lose on this trade, it's fine, because once it comes back down right here, I'll take the L, and then once it closes below this point again, I'll just re-enter for a sell, make the money right back. So it's fine if it ends up pushing up further, but obviously I don't want it to not push up any further, and I don't want it to drop back down. But we'll see how this plays out. We'll just have to wait and see how this candle closes in the next 2 hours. So that's it for Euro odd right there. Let me move on to the next one, EJ for the producer. And then we got that right over here. All right, so we're done with EA. We got the producer with EJ over here. Charles said US 30 back to 30,000. It's like a magnet. Let me look. Yeah, it looks like it, right? So this is what I was mentioning earlier, guys. I was saying that it's probably going to shoot back to 30,000 right here. And then, well, if it breaks the structure right here, so if it closes below the structure, then it might continue down even further. But what might happen here is people can buy the dip from 30,000, right? There's probably a lot of buy limits right here. So a lot of people are going to try to buy it right here. It's going to shoot right back up. The thing with this right here, this is actually good, guys. So I like it when price actually pulls back like this because it starts to create structure, right? So price is way up here. So you can see right here, once price broke this over here, broke 29,000, it ranged since like November up until December, right? And then it broke structure again, and then it just had some unusual movement. So what I want to happen here is I want price to come back down so that it can create structure within this area, and then we can identify, where the rejection points are. Because the problem with price being so high is that price has never been up here. So there's no history up here and there's no areas of rejection. So as price comes back down, it can create a bunch of zones within this area over here. And then we'll be able to identify that when we take our next trades. But currently right now, it's just too risky with however it's moving. So it looks like my EA hit stop loss. That's fine. Like I mentioned, we're gonna continue on with the next trades as we move forward for this week. So US 30 right here. We'll see how far it drops. If it hits 30,000, let me just put a line right there. 30,000 right here. We could probably see where that's gonna go. But we'll have to wait and see how this closes within the next hour. If it closes below the structure, if it closes above it, then we might be ready for that bullish swing back up. All right, cool. So let's see. Larry said, did you take a look at AUDJPY? I haven't taken a look at it yet, Larry, so I'm going to add you to the list. So Larry, we got AUDJPY for you. And until then, we'll continue moving forward. So I'm going to look at EJ right here for the producer real quick, and then we will continue moving forward from that point. So let me go ahead and delete this off the chart. I'm going to zoom out from this point, turn on the K²SR. Let me see this real quick. All right, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones over here. Just lower zone right there. Just going to connect these zones since they're pretty much connected. There. That right there, and then that right there. So looks good from that point. I'm going to go ahead and take off the indicator, zoom out from this point. You can see that EJ has been moving in consolidation since December 1st. So you can see price had a bullish move here, retracement, bullish move back up, consolidation for about, let's see. So price had a bullish move from here from October 29 up until November 9. And then it went into some consolidation from November 9 up until November 17. So a straight consolidation right there, drop back down, shot back up, consolidation again right here, shot up. And then from this point, it's been ranging since December 1st. So it's just been ranging within here. What I anticipate happening is if it breaks above here, it'll probably be a buy. If it breaks below here, it'll be a sell, two scenarios. But currently it's just ranging within these two zones right now. So I'm going to turn on my momentum indicator. We have a bullish momentum here, right? So our bias is going to be a bullish move. In order for us to necessarily want to take this trade, we'd want it to close above the structure over here. Once it closes above the structure, then we could possibly take a long position from there. But until it breaks the structure, we're not going to have a long position available because it's probably just going to range within here. It might just, swing up from this point, reject from there, come right back down, or break above it. So scenario one is it can break above it. Scenario two is it rejects off this point and then just continues to range within here until it breaks above it, right? So for EJ over here, I personally wouldn't trade it because I don't like trading ranging assets. It's just too risky for someone to take, because this could literally go, you know, in any direction. Last thing you want to do is enter a long position right here because you think it's going to be long, and then your stop loss is below the structure. It ends up swinging down, hit your stop loss. You wouldn't want that to happen, right? Vice versa, you don't want to enter a short position right here, and then you have your stop loss like at the previous structure right here, and then it ends up reversing on you and hitting your stop loss at that point, right? So I would be waiting for it to break above the structure for you to take a buy position. Vice versa, if you want to take a sell position, I'd wait for a sell signal like this right here and wait for it to close below this structure over here so that it's broken out of this range. That way you can take a trade, you know, in that direction. So this is pretty much what I see happening for EJ. But like I mentioned, it's just ranging right now. So I personally wouldn't want to take this trade just yet until it breaks above or breaks below it. So that's it for EJ right there. Let me go ahead and continue further for Zephyr. All right, so Zephyr wants me to take a look at the JPY, basically the Nisei 225 right here. So looking at this over here, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, go on the 1 hour, zoom out from this point, turn on the K2SRs, and you guys can see that I pretty much do the same exact thing for any asset. It doesn't matter if it's Forex, if it's Bitcoin, if it's indices, if it's gold, like literally all the K2 indicators work on any asset. So it doesn't matter what you're trading. You can apply the same theory to any asset that you want to analyze, and it works out perfectly. So yeah, if you guys still want to sign up for K2, it's still available. If you guys want access to these indicators, learn how to trade exactly how I do, you know, it's all available to you. If you want that one-on-one mentorship, still available as well. But like I mentioned, as we continue to get busier and busier, there's only one of me, and there's like hundreds of you guys. So the earlier you guys sign up, the more access you guys have to me directly. Because obviously, if we get too busy, I can't give you guys that one-on-one attention that you guys would want, you know, to be mentored by me individually. So looking at JPY right here, or I guess the Nisei, I'll call this the Nisei, the Japan 225. Looking at this over here, it looks like it's coming down just like the rest of the indices. I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator right here. So we did have it break below the structure, right? So price broke below the structure. It's probably gonna keep swinging down to this structure right here. Once it reaches this structure, it will either reject off it and range within here or correct back up, or it can continue down further. Right. So scenario number one is that price comes down, tests this structure, and continues further down. Scenario number two is price comes down here, rejects off this structure, and swings back up. So depending on which path that it follows, there's like more scenarios that appear from there. So price breaks the structure right here, it can test this structure, and then it can either reject off here or it can continue down further and test this structure right here, right? Vice versa, if this doesn't happen right here and it doesn't break the structure, price can easily reject off this point and swing up here. Once it reaches this point, it can either continue up further or it can reject off this point and swing back down. So it just really depends on where price ends up going from here. It's probably going to keep dropping. So if you're trying to take this trade, Zephyr, you can probably catch it to this this low right here, which would be 27,045.6. So that's 27,045.6. And then at that point, you can probably exit your trades. You can make some profit off this right here, just writing it down for about, I guess, 165 pips, exit the trade. And then you can wait and see what happens from here. If it ends up swinging back up and you get a buy signal, then you can take, you know, a buy in the opposite direction. Or if it continues down further, you can just keep riding it further down to this point as well. So it's just really up to you and how you analyze this. But for me personally, like I mentioned, the indices are very risky to trade right now because of what's happening in the market, with the market just reopening. So I would be careful with it. But obviously for right now, it looks like it can continue to drop a bit further before it you know, swings back up. So we'll see how that happens. Also keep in mind that we are in the US session, so this is probably not going to move as smoothly until we re-enter Asia session tonight at about 4 p.m. my time, which is when the Tokyo market opens up. So that's it for the Nisei 225. We're going to move on to the next one for John over here. Yeah, John, I just saw your question. So oil, John's next up in line. He wants me to look at US oil, so that's what we're looking at next. If you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat, and then I can analyze anything you guys want. I'm just going down the list right now to see what we've got going on over here. So let me go ahead and take a look at oil over here for John. So same situation that we did earlier. I'm going to pull this up, erase everything off the chart, turn on the K2SRs. Once we've got that lined up right there, I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones on the chart. So we got that zone down there, that right there, that over there. And we have this last zone up here. So looking at US oil, looks like we have these zones lined up pretty nicely. Just looking at price right now, it looks like, price has pretty much just been moving in a smooth pattern for the, sure, no problem, Zephyr. There's a smooth pattern going on for oil right here. So you can see price comes up, retracement. So it's easy to follow once you have the zones lined up. You can see price swings up, retracement, swings up, retracement, swings up, retracement. And it's just establishing higher highs as it continues to move up further. But currently right now, it looks like oil is currently in some consolidation, right? It's just consolidating within these two zones right here. If I turn on the momentum indicator over here, we have a pending sell signal, right? So for this candle right here to close with the sell signal within the next hour and 45 minutes, if this closes below here, John, then you can probably anticipate it to test this structure. So if it closes below here, it can probably test this structure similar to what happened over here. And then at this point, it can either reject off this structure or it could continue down further. So just depending on where it goes, we'll see how this plays out. Like I mentioned, you have to think of the different scenarios available. So scenario number one is price breaks the structure, and then it ends up testing this structure right here, right? If it breaks this structure again, it'll just continue down even further. So that's scenario number one, where it breaks structure, it continues down further. Scenario number two is this ends up rejecting off this point, and then just ends up ranging within here before it swings back up and either breaks above there or it keeps dropping from this point right here. So there's a couple of scenarios that can play out here for US oil. I would just be patient with this because you can see right here, the last time this happened, it looks like it's just repeating itself right here, right? It looks like, so once it rejects off this point, it looks like it came down quite a bit right here, slightly, to retest this structure down here. So it came down from there, tested the structure, and then it swung back up, right? Same situation again right here. It has rejected off that same zone right here. Same situation, followed by a sell signal. So what might happen here is it might come back down and possibly reject back up, right? It's the same pattern. It just pretty much repeats itself again. So I would wait for this, Shawn, until this has some sort of confirmation. I probably wouldn't enter it just yet. Yeah, Merspot said it, and Merspot said that he believes that there's news for oil today. So I don't trade oil, so I wouldn't know, but definitely, that might be the cause of this drop right here. But this is basically what I see happening right here, John. And I would just be cautious before you enter this trade, because the last thing you want to do is enter a sell and then it ends up reversing from this point, which can happen. It can reject off this point and just continue higher. Because like I was mentioning earlier, it's just been establishing higher highs since November. So it just establishes, like, let me see, I have the low right here. We have the high right here, and this is basic price action, right? We have the higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and it just keeps pretty much increasing as it continues further, right? Just keeps going higher, high, higher low, higher high, higher low right here possibly. And then at this point, it can easily, you know, reject right back up. So I'd be careful with oil today, John. I mean, obviously it looks like, you know, if this ends up rejecting off this point and doesn't break below here, it's probably going to be bullish. I think overall it'll be bullish. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out, but I wouldn't enter just yet. So I'd probably wait for this to probably close below here. I would wait for this right here. See this pattern? I'd wait for it to close below here, provide a buy signal, close right above back here, and then take that long position right there, and then pretty much just ride it higher and higher. So I'd be patient with it. I wouldn't just enter right away, because the last thing you want to do is be stuck in this trade and then have it go into some drawdown. So keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely right here, we'd have to wait and see how this closes within the next 1 hour and 40 minutes. The next candle closes in 140. And at that point, you can identify, you know, which direction to take this trade. So that's pretty much it for oil right there. I'll take a peek at US 30 again. Looks like it's rejecting off this pretty strong. So we'll see how that plays out, but we'll just continue to hold on to that. Nice. Oh, CT's here. Hey, CT. So let's see. CT said, just in the morning, you may have gone over it, but I'm in UCAD from, yeah, so I'll take a look at that later after I look at these other pairs, CT. So CT's in UCAD right now. He said in at 1.25955 and in at 1.27330. So I'll take a look at that in a second. CT, I'm going to go ahead and keep going down this list real quick. One more question from Lisa. So this is it for oil right there. All done with that. Next, we'll move over to CAD-JPY, I believe, for Lisa. So I got CAD-JPY right here. I'm going to go ahead and redraw the structure on here as well. Delete everything from there. Zoom out from this point. Turn on the K2SRs. And draw this from there as well. Nice, John. Yeah, John said, in 1 month, I am with you and KT family, definitely. We're going to see how that plays out, John. Hopefully that plays out. You can make some profit off that trade. But definitely I would be very, very patient with it, especially with how the market's moving right now. All right, so Lisa, let me take a look at JPY right here for you. So we got that lined up right there. I'm going to go ahead and hide this indicator. Zoom out from this point. You guys can see we have some nice zones here for CAD-JPY. I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator to identify the direction of momentum. As you can see right here, we have a pending sell, right? Same situation with oil. This candle has about 1 hour and 38 minutes left on it. So if this ends up closing below the structure, then we can anticipate this to drop further to here. So that would be scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is this ends up not closing with a sell signal. It swings back up here, and then you can take a buy from there as well. So there's a couple scenarios that can play out. Like I mentioned, if it closes below here, you can take a sell position right here and then ride this to this structure down there, right? So that's scenario number 1, but you can see here it's disappeared, right? So that's scenario number 1 if it closes. Scenario number 2, if it doesn't close, is it'll swing back up right here, and then you can take a long position from right here. So that's another one that can play out from there. You know, I'm just analyzing it from both points because there's no guarantee it's going to go one direction or the other. You know, it just depends on how price reacts to the specific candle. So if this candle closes with the sell signal in about 1 hour 30, then we could take the sell. However, if it doesn't close and then it swings back above, we still have a bullish bias over here. So we'd anticipate that to shoot up this direction, right? So you guys just have to be patient and wait for this candle to close in the next 1 hour and 30 minutes. If this candle closes with a sell signal intact, then we take the sell. If it swings back up with no sell signal, then we take the buy. So those are the 2 scenarios that can play out for CAD-JPY right there. Let's see if there's anything else over here. All done with CAD JPY. And you know that this is just another reminder, guys. If you guys have the indicators, you'll be able to identify, you know, and analyze these assets within a few seconds, if not a few minutes, rather quickly. And we have a huge watch list right here, so there's a ton of pairs to watch out for if you guys are trading the K2 strategies. So that's it for CAD JPY. We'll move on to the next one, GU over here. And yeah, for GU right here, I'm going to zoom out from this point, delete everything off the chart. Here's the naked chart, turn on the K2 SRs. There we go. Draw that from that point. Draw this from that point down there. That point right there. Let's see if there's anything else right here. So we got this right there. This zone right there. And then lastly, we've got this zone over here as well. So we have all the zones lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and hide this K2 SR indicator. Actually, let me go ahead and draw a higher zone as well in case, you know, price breaks above it, because we do have a bullish bias on this overall long term. But we will, you know, obviously we'll see how this plays out. So we got that bullish bias right there. Go back to the 4 hour right here. Hide the K2 SRs. And there we go with our zones. So once you guys have the zones lined up, we turn on the momentum indicator. Same situation over here. We have a sell momentum. So if this candle closes below the structure right here, then we can anticipate this to drop further to there. And we could probably take a sell signal from right there for a little move for about 440 to 50 pips right here. So this is one that we could possibly take if it closes below here, guys. Keep in mind, it has to close below the structure. If it doesn't close below the structure, there's no sell signal because that's going to be the main requirement. So scenario number one is for GU, price closes below the structure and then it swings down to here, right? That's scenario number one. If price doesn't close below the structure and swings right back up, then that's going to be the complete opposite, because if we get a buy signal and it swings above here, then we can take a long position. So scenario number one is going to be if price closes below here. Scenario number two is if it swings up and provides a buy signal indicating a momentum swing upwards, right? So for this right here, I would probably anticipate this to possibly, you know, close below here. This is probably what's going to happen because it looks like everything is just retracing right now, right? It's retracing from the holiday weekend. It's retracing from the weekend, from the market close where it's been closed for a bit. But overall, with the stimulus being printed, I think the US dollar is going to continue to be weak and it's going to continue to push up. But these are conflicting assets right here. You know, like we mentioned in the chat earlier, if the UK goes into lockdown, then obviously this is going to continue down further, right? Because if they're in lockdown, even though the US dollar is weak, it's still going to be stronger than the pound because they're in full lockdown. So those are the two scenarios that can play out right here for GU. Personally, I think it's probably going to come down, especially if the UK goes into lockdown. So I would probably be looking for a sell here. I'd wait for about an hour for this candle to close. If it closes below, take a short position and then make that money right there. So that should be good for that. Let me see if there's anything else to look at right here. Oh yeah, no problem, John. So John, you must be from France, right? Yeah, John said, merci equals thank you. I took French in high school. I wasn't that good at it, but I do understand like basic French. Awesome, man. Definitely. No problem, John. Let's see if there's anything else that we have here. We have one more from Larry for AUDJPY, and then I'm going to take a look at CT's UCAD right after. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat so I can take a look at it. Otherwise, you know, I think this is it for the questions today. We might be signing off a little early today so that I can get through all of the other questions that I have in the email. I have a ton of emails to get through today, guys. So it's something that I just need to go in, review. And then, I mean, I'll still be available. It's just I'm probably going to go off the live so I can focus on those questions before, you know, we continue moving forward. So Larry right here is asking for AUDJPY. We have NG Ruiz Camacho here with their wave. Looks like she's finally awake. So let's go ahead and take a look at AUDJPY over here. Yeah, definitely Mercibah. So we'll take a look. We have another question for Mercibah or Isai. So Mercibah, we have USD MXN. Look at the peso. So let me look at AJPY right here real quick. Let me zoom out from this point. Razul said, Shawn, is there a formula for your stop loss levels? So generally, Razul, what I like to do is I like to put the stop loss at the previous swing, but it varies because sometimes the swing is just too far, right? So, or it's too close. Like for example, right here for AJPY, if you were to take a buy position right here, so you see we had a buy signal right here, it broke structure. So this would have been the entry right here. I would place the stop loss either at the previous swing right here for about 44 pips. But there's a bunch of different places you can put it, right? This is one place to put it at the previous swing, not necessarily where I like to put it, either this swing or this swing down here. Another place you can put it is below the structure right here, but this might be too close. It's only 30 pips, right? So for me, I usually like to put it at the previous swing. Another way to do it is I'll let TradingView do it for me. So say if I wanted to enter this trade right here for a buy, right? I just zoom out. I use the long positioning tool. I place it right there and TradingView does it for me. So at that point, it sets my TP and stop loss for me right there, which is pretty solid. It puts it at the previous swing and it incorporates the average true range. So that's, there's 3 ways of doing it right there. Me personally, just for my own practice and stuff and the way I always trade, I put it at the previous swing right here. So depending on how you want to do it, if you want TradingView to do it for you, if you can handle this risk for 115 pips, this works. If you want to just put it at the previous structure right here, slightly below, you can put it there as well. If you want to put it at the previous swing, it can be here about 45 pips or even down here for 55 pips. It just really depends on how you want to do it. Me personally, I recommend putting it at the previous swing, which might be here or here, and then add a few pips to cover the, the range. So you just want to add enough to cover the spread, and then also, your commission, so you can make some profit off that as well. So basically what I'll do here is if the swing is right here at 53, I'll just round that down to like 55, maybe 60, depending on how I feel about that trade. So that's generally how I would place my stop loss. And then how you guys know, I usually put TP at either the next structure or I have it an equal distance away. So that's one way of doing it. But okay, so let me take a look at AJPY right here for Larry. I'm going to go ahead and take this off on the chart, zoom out from here, delete everything off the chart, turn on the K2SR levels. And then yes, from this point, I'm going to open that right there, that right there, that over there, that, and this right here. We don't have an upper level, so I'm gonna go on the 8-hour. Nothing there, I'm gonna go on the daily. Nothing there, I'm gonna go on the weekly. And there we go with our zones. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this zone up here. And there we go, I'm gonna go back on the 4-hour down here, turn off the K2SRs, and there we go, lined up. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator. This position right here is technically still active. So I still think it's going to have a bullish move. It might have a little retracement right here, test the structure, and then swing back up. But I think overall it's going to keep swinging up because, like I mentioned yesterday, I see all the AUD pairs to be a bit bullish from here. So I think these are all going to be bullish overall. But for this specific time period right now, everything is in retracement, right? It's been bullish since December, or actually since the beginning of December or November. It's been bullish. Same with all the other AUD pairs. So if I take this off, it's all been pretty bullish from here. Bullish, 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 and bullish, right? So the AUD has been strong for the past couple, I guess a month or so. And it's just going through some retracement right now. So for like this right here for AJPY, probably see some retracement, and then I see it swinging back up right there. But if you were to take this trade from the original entry over here, looks like it's still technically running in profit right now. So, or it looks like it might have hit full TP already right there for about 86 pips. So it might have hit TP. If not, it'll probably swing back down, close into the structure, And then if it closes back up from here, like say if it closes down below there, test the structure, rejects off this point right here, then you could probably take another long position from right there, right? So I would personally be patient about it and just wait for this to either swing back up, or you can possibly write it down. I don't think it's much of a move though. It's only about 30 pips. I wouldn't take it. It's just too risky from that point. I'd probably just wait for it to come down, test the structure, and then possibly just reject off it. You can take that buy signal from there. So that's what I see happening right here. Same with all the other JPY pairs. I think they're all going to be pretty much bullish for the most part overall. But right now they're all just going through some retracement after this bullish move from the new year. So that's it for AUD/JPY right there. Let me see if there's anything else over here. And I'm going to go ahead and analyze the next one. So for CT, to look over at, yeah, CT wants me to take a look at UCAD. Let's see. Dang, yeah, David said UK raising alert level to level 5. It's the highest level. Jeez, okay, so they're going to go back to the lockdown soon. So if that happens, this JPY is probably going to come crashing down, actually, guys. So it was bullish for a while, but if everything goes back into lockdown, the JPY might gain in strength. JPY and Swiss franc. Reason for that is that the JPY is a safe haven currency. So when the world's going to shit, people put their money into safe haven currencies like the JPY, the Swiss franc, gold, stuff like that. So we could probably see gold shoot up even higher, actually, if that's the case. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens from there. Just follow the news, and then we'll see what goes on from there. And then we can basically base all of our trades off the specific news that is going on. So let me see if there's any news here that's necessarily affecting it. Yeah, so the UK Prime Minister Johnson has set out new restrictions this evening. Oh, wow, okay, yeah. So it looks like the UK is really going through some pretty strict restrictions. Prime Minister will be directly addressing the nation. It won't be a press conference. Tier 4 restrictions will be imposed everywhere. Schools closed. Whoops. No more team games in parks, but outdoor exercise is okay. So yeah, it looks like the UK is going back into some high lockdowns. So with that said, GU might be going down, guys. We analyzed that earlier, and that's probably going to continue down further. So that's probably what's causing all these drops in price, or spikes in price, I guess. But yeah, let me go ahead and take a look at UCAD real quick. And then I think this is it, guys. So we have this, and then we have the peso next for Merspot. I think other than that, we're pretty much done for the day. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I will be signing off for the day, and then I'll be calling the next signals at 10 a.m. So in about an hour and a half, I'll be calling the next signals if there's anything available. Otherwise, we'll be done for the day for the most part, and we will probably cash back up with this tomorrow. Looking at US 30 right here, I wouldn't take the trade because it's just way too risky, guys. I wouldn't hop into this. If I hop into a last minute trade, I'll let you guys know, but I personally would not probably be taking that today. So it looks like CT is in UCAD at 29. So I'm hoping you're in a sell, CT. I'm sure you are, but just wanted to confirm. So it looks like you got in at 25955. Oh, you have a buy stop. Okay, I see. I see what you're doing. So you have a couple trades just pending right now for UCAD. Yeah, depending on what's going to go on with the world. I mean, if COVID keeps getting worse, it's going to affect the market, obviously. Oh no, I think you're in for a sell, right? CT, you might be in for a sell. You're trying to aim for that point down there, actually, it looks like. Yeah, so that makes a lot more sense. So if you're in a sell for USD CAD, I definitely think it's going to come down. Just looking at fundamentals. Oh, you're in a buy. Okay. Wait, if you're in a buy, how'd you get into that price? Unless you're looking for a buy limit. Oh, okay, you had the other number there. So you had 27. Let me see, 27,330. Okay, gotcha. So you got in right there when it swung right back up, right? I think that could be good because what's probably going to do is probably going to swing up. If this closes with a buy signal, then we could probably see some, push up for a bit. Oh, gotcha. Okay, you're in for a swing. So yeah, if that's the case, you have a lot of room from here up until the previous swing right there for about 200 pips. So you could be you could do pretty good on that. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I think it definitely could play out, especially with this drop right here. I mean, it's been dropping for so long; it's gonna have to retrace to some extent before it continues to drop even further. So it actually looks good, CT. Um, but we'll see how that plays out from like now until the end of the week. With NFP going on, it's probably going to move a little crazy. You'll have some volatility in there, probably by tomorrow and the day after. But we'll see how that plays out. All right, cool. We have one more pair by Mersabar real quick, and then for Razul, he wants me to show the scalping strategy. Yeah, CT said it's temporary with the oil movement. I agree with that too. I mean, I feel like a lot of the pairs are moving crazy because the market reopened from the holiday, plus the weekend, plus COVID, plus there's just a lot of stuff going on in the world. So like all the USD pairs are kind of like all over the place right now. They're not moving in the same direction. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, long term. But yeah, I can definitely see that swing coming up quite a bit. You have some cushion there for it to swing up even to here. So if it swings up to this previous swing, it's still 100 pips. Swings up to here, it's like 750 pips. Oh, 170 pips. And then up here, that's like 200 pips. So you got some room to make some profit off there. But yeah, definitely, we'll see how that plays out. Razul, so I see your question here about the scalping strategy. Which strategy are you talking about, Razul? Because we have a couple. So I don't know if you're talking about the pivot strategy or if you're talking about just the intraday that's held on the lower time frame. If you could be a little more specific, I can answer that and I can show you examples. But I just need to figure out which one that you're looking for more specifically. All right, cool. So I'm gonna step away for 1 second, guys. I just gotta answer this call real quick, and then I'll be back within a few minutes. So give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Let me finish up our session right now, and then we'll see what's going on from this point. All right, so let me check this out real quick, see if I miss anything. Jay said most people are going long on UC. So yeah, look at the spike, guys. This is a huge spike right here for UC. I can go ahead and check the IG sentiment for USD CAD. So it looks like, yeah, majority of people are long right here. 70% of people are long for UCAD right now. So this is probably going to continue up a bit. And then, you know, it'll hit some point where it'll probably reject off here, or even off here. So that's basically what could happen right there for USD CAD. But, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it's probably going to take some time before it, you know, sets its long-term direction. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's a brand new year. You know, COVID is going to have some crazy numbers within the next couple of weeks from the holidays, and then we'll see how that plays out from there. So let me go ahead and take a look at the other ones over here as well. Yeah, result for the strategy that you're requesting, there's like 4 different strategies that we use for scalping. So I mean, they're all in the lower time frame, but if you can be more specific as to which strategy you're referring to, I can show you how it works. So like if we go on the course over here, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Let me check this real quick. What's going on with this thing? Let me go ahead and refresh this. For some reason, the course isn't opening for me. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. If you can be more specific with your question, Rezul, there's a couple different strategies that we can look at with regard to. Let me just open a new window, see if I can open it from here. Okay, there we go. So here we go with the course over here. Looking at the course, there's the scalping strategies right here. We have the pivot strategy, the original strategy, the 5-minute strategy. There's a couple different strategies to use here, Rezul. So if you could be more specific, I think you might be referring to the K² pivot strategy. If that's it, the pivot scalping strategy, I can go more into detail with that. But these are totally different strategies. So I would need to know which one that you want me to look at so that I can, you know, answer your question more properly. So if you can just clarify that while I'm looking at this next pair for Mersaba, I can go more into detail on that for you. Yeah, definitely. CT mentioned more restrictions equal less driving equals lower demand for oil. So I do agree with you, USD CAD. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, definitely we'll keep looking at this into the week and see how it continues from there. So let me go ahead and take a look at the next question over here. Okay, gotcha. So we'll take a look at that as well. Pivot scalping strategy. So I'll take a look at that shortly. Let me see if there's any other questions here before we continue moving forward. Nilton, hey Nilton, how's it going, bro? Gene Vaughn's asking, what's the difference between a buy limit and a buy stop? So, Gene Vaughn, if you're taking a buy limit, your entry would be below current price. So, say price is currently up here, right? If you're using a buy limit, your entry would be below where price currently is. If your entry is going to be above where price currently is, then that'd be a buy stop. So this would be a buy limit if it's below here. If it's above here, then this would be a buy stop. So those are the 2 different order types that you can use depending on, you know, where price currently is and where your entry is as well. So if price is above it, then it'll be a buy limit. Price is below it, then it'll be a buy stop. I think I have an image here too that we can use. Let's see, buy limit, buy stop, Forex. So if you just Google buy limit, buy stop, you'll have this image right here, and it'll be a bit of a clear image for you. You know, obviously buy stop. Yeah. So if price is below it, then it would be a buy stop. If price is above it, it'd be a buy limit. So those are the 2 differences between those 2 order types. All right, so let me keep going on the list over here real quick. Nilton, sure. We looked at gold earlier, so I'll just review it for you after we get to that point. So Nilton wants gold, and I think that's about it. Okay, cool. So I've looked at UCAD. Next question is for Mersabah for USD pesos. So let me go over to that pair right now. USD MXN, Forex.com. Yeah, looking at it from right here. So price never closed below. When we analyzed this last week, we were waiting for price to close below the structure, and it never did. So that's why we didn't take that sell entry right there. Let me go ahead and redraw these zones to see if the zones have changed since then. Zoom out from this point, delete everything off there, turn on the K2SRs, and then draw my zones from this point right here. So we got that one right there. This one right there. This one up here. These up here. I'm drawing these big zones over here, guys, because price is so far from it. I don't anticipate it to like swing up to this point anytime soon. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off the chart. Zoom out from this point. You can see that price has pretty much just been ranging within these two zones for quite some time now. So looking at the peso right now, similar to USD CAD, it looks like the US dollar is actually gaining strength currently. So here's what could happen here, Mersabah. If we have a buy signal that closes right here, kind of similar to what happened over here, and price ends up closing above this structure, then you can take a long position from there. Previously, we were anticipating it to drop further, but price never closed below the structure, right? So that's why we had the rejection point right over here. Rejected off that point, swung right back up. If it's followed by a buy signal and then it closes above the structure, we can anticipate it to shoot up even further. So we'll just have to wait for that to close. This candle closes in about 1 hour. But on top of that, we would need a buy signal as well. So we need a buy signal, plus we need price to close above the structure. Once that happens, we could possibly see a push up similar to what we saw for USD CAD, right? So for the peso right here, if this closes above the structure, we get a buy signal. We can expect this to continue up further. Similar to USD CAD over here, it's the same exact setup, right? You see the rejection off this point. We have this buy signal that's pending. If it closes above the structure, it'll probably keep shooting up even further. Going back to the previous symbol over here for the peso, it's the same exact setup. It looks like this would be a buy signal here if it closes, but then we would just need it to close above this structure before we can take that buy entry to continue riding it up this way. So that's what I see happening for the peso over here. And it lines up just with USD CAD as well. So they look pretty decent over here. Otherwise, it looks like we'll just have to wait for that to close. You know, until this closes above and we get a buy signal, then we will be able to take that entry. However, if it doesn't close above the structure and we don't get a buy signal, then there's not going to be an entry available just yet. So that's pretty much what I see happening for the peso. We would just have to wait for that confirmation. Either we get a buy signal and price closes above here, or price swings back down and we take that sell in the other direction, right? So two scenarios there. One scenario is we get a buy signal, price closes above here, we take a buy. That is scenario number one. Scenario number two is price ends up swinging back below here, closes below the structure, and the short position right there would be the entry. So that's basically what we see at this point. Until that happens, until we get a confirmation above or confirmation below, we wouldn't take this trade. But once you do get that confirmation, that can be your green light to take that entry. So that's pretty much it for the peso right there. Next up, we have Razul's scalping strategy that he wants us to take a look at. And then we have one more for Trell. For Trell wants me to take a look at Nzdchf. We'll take a look at that as well. So we got 3 questions right now. I'm going to go over and take a look at the scalping strategy real quick, and I'll show you how it's applied for Razul over here. So I'm going to go ahead and just redraw everything over here, go on the 10-minute here for that scalping strategy. And like I mentioned, it's the pivot strategy right here. So let me just go over here and find an area where we can apply it. So basically right here, this would be the the strategy over here, which is super simple. I'm going to go ahead and put the requirements right here. This is the K2 pivots scalping strategy on the 10-minute time frame. So I'll put the requirements here. One, let's make it smaller. Oh, actually too small. Make that different color as well. So here's the K2 pivot scalping strategy. The first requirement is to identify the trend using K2 pivots, to identify retracement pullback, 3, identify rejection of K2 pivots area. Lastly, identify valid K2 signal. And then lastly, you can enter on the open of the following candle. So it's really simple, guys. It's not that difficult. And then of course you can put stop loss at previous swing or last 2 pivots. So this is the strategy right here. It's super simple. For example, right here, you're going to identify the trend using the K2 pivots. In order to do that, you want to make sure that price is above the pivots. The pivots are all angling up and they're spread out, kind of how they are right here. Obviously, price is above, the pivots are angling upwards and they're spread out. So it's going to identify an uptrend, right? It's pretty clear when that happens, uptrend, vice versa. When price is below and it's doing the same thing, it's in a downtrend. So currently right here, price is above the pivots are angling upwards and they're sort of spread out, right? So this is going to confirm an uptrend right here. Requirement number 1 has been met. We've identified an uptrend. Requirement number 2, identify retracement pullback. So looking at this right here, you can see price was swinging up to this direction. We had a retracement from here and then it came down, right? That's requirement number 2. Requirement number 3 is to identify a rejection off the K2 pivots area. So we have that as well right here. So requirement number 1, it's an uptrend. Requirement number 2, we have a retracement from here. Requirement number 3, we have a rejection of the K2 pivots area. The last requirement is to identify a valid K2 signal. Right here, we have a valid buy signal with this green bullish buy signal right here. So all requirements have been met. We've identified the trend, we've identified the retracement, we've identified the rejection, and we've identified the valid buy signal right here. So once we've identified all of that, you can enter on the open of the following candle. Right here, you enter a long position right here, place your stop loss at the previous swing, which would probably be somewhere around here. And then you let the trade run. So from that point, you let the trade run, and then it hits full TP right there, right? Full TP. Again, another situation right here, another entry, because we have a valid buy signal right here, right? So we have a valid buy signal right here. We have an uptrend. So requirement number 1, uptrend. Requirement number 2, retracement from this point. Requirement number 3, rejection off here. And lastly, a valid buy signal. So again, we have another buy signal right here for a buy entry. Our previous swing would be somewhere around here, around 40. You let that run right there. And there you go for another TP. So you got 2 full TPs right there. We can run it again right here if we have another buy signal. It's an invalid buy, so we wouldn't look at that. We just ignore it. Wait for the next one if there is another one. Yeah, I think that might have been it. So that's it, Rasul. So if you see here how I've identified this, it's pretty simple. You know, it's simple requirements right here. And if you want to look at those, the video explaining this more in detail, you can just go on the course over here. It's going to be the K2 pivot scalping strategy right here. So that's exactly what I just applied right here. You can see there's 2 scalps right there, nice easy wins. And then you could pretty much just keep applying it over and over again. So super simple. Let me go ahead and take a look at everything else that we have here. We have a couple of other questions. We have Milton that wants gold for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at gold real quick. I'm gonna try to zoom through this, guys, because I know we've been on this webinar for about 3 hours now. So it might be time for me to log off for a bit as I look for the next entry. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, once I'm done with all these questions, I'm gonna log off for a bit and then I will catch you guys in the Telegram for the rest of the day. So looking at gold right here, you can see price broke the structure. What I anticipate happening right here is a bullish move. So I definitely see it having a bullish move overall right here, Milton. The only problem with this is we looked at the sentiment, and the problem with sentiment for gold is that everyone is long right now, right? We have 76% of people long. So I think overall I see gold heading up, but I don't see it happening right away. The problem with this is that there's so many people that are long. The banks and institutions aren't going to let people win that easy with gold, right? Gold's one of the most manipulated assets available. So what's going to happen here is it's probably going to go sideways for a bit. And then I probably see it spiking down a bit to stop people out. And then from this point, then it might swing back up. Or what might happen here is it might stop people out. Then it might swing back to where price currently was, do the same thing again, stop people out. And then as this number decreases from 76% people long, you'll see the number go to like 70%. That's because all these people are getting stopped out, right? Everyone has long positions, but when they get stopped out, the number starts to shift. It goes from like 76 to 70%, from 70% to 60%. Once it gets to that point where it's below 70%, then we could probably see this spike up super heavily. So that's pretty much what I see happening right here for gold, Milton. I personally wouldn't trade it right now because there's a lot of room for manipulation because of sentiment right now. Obviously, if there's 76% of people long, they're not going to let price go up that easily, right? Because they're not just going to let everybody make money. They're probably just going to stop everyone out, take their money, make it go sideways, stop people out again. And then from that point, they're probably going to shoot it right back up to where it's supposed to go. So I personally wouldn't trade gold right now because it's just, there's too many people on one side right now. And you definitely don't want to get caught in that manipulation. So I would hold tight off gold, and then I would definitely hop onto it at some point in the future. So that's it for gold right there. Let me see if there's any other questions before we move on. All right, Dennis, let me take a look at EJ as well for Dennis. So we got Dennis, JPY. So first I'm gonna look at CAD-CHF first, and then after that, I'll look at EJ. So I'm gonna go and pull up CAD-CHF. Oh man, I hate CAD-CHF. It's a messy pair. But yeah, looking at it right here, Trell. So basically right here, we have a pending sell signal, right? So if this closes below the structure, then I probably anticipate it to drop even further. The problem with CAD-CHF is that it's a messy pair. It kind of, like you see these wicks, it moves around a little crazy in comparison to, the other pairs. But it does respect the structure still. So looking at this right here, if I turn on the momentum indicator, the reason for this drop right here is because of the COVID shutdowns and stuff going on, right? Obviously the Swiss franc is a safe haven currency. So when the world's going to shit, people put their money into the Swiss franc, and the Swiss franc gains in strength. So that's kind of what I see happening right here with CAD JPY. As the new COVID numbers come out and COVID updates are released, with regards to the UK and just like in general, this is probably going to continue dropping right here. There's also Canadian news that's happening today, I believe. So if you look at the news for today, we had Canadian news this morning at 6:30. Looks like the PMI was actually, it was actually good. It was higher. So previous was 55, and then the actual was 57. But for whatever reason, it dropped. I think the reason for this drop is because of the COVID news that's been releasing lately. So this is probably going to continue dropping further. If this closes below here in the next 54 minutes, then we could probably anticipate this to drop further, and you could probably take a short position right there. It's probably not going to be a huge move, but you can probably take for about, 25 pips. That looks like a good sweet spot right there. So that's probably what I see happening right here for CAD-CHF. But like until there's some sort of confirmation and it closes below here, I wouldn't take the trade because you still have 54 minutes left on this clock. This can easily pull back right here and not close below, not providing for an entry. So I wouldn't enter right now, but if it does close below the structure, then I would take that entry and then pretty much just write it down here. Just remember to move your stop loss and profit because this is a bit of a risky asset to trade. It's a little bit all over the place. So just be careful with it. But I think definitely this would be a nice sell if it closes below this structure. So I think that's it for that one right there. We have one more question from Dennis for EJ. And then after this, I'm going to be signing off, guys. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat real quick. Otherwise, I have a ton of emails to get through, a bunch of Telegram messages right here as well. So I'm going to have to get through that shortly. And then the next Forex signals will be coming out at about 10 a.m. in about 53 minutes if there's anything available. So we'll take a look at that later. Let me take a look at EJ real quick. Yeah, so looking at EJ right here, Dennis said, what's up with EJ? Huge pullback, buy signal inside structure, last 4-hour candle. Yeah, so right here, it's just pulling back, right? It was like I mentioned earlier, Dennis, I'm not sure if you were here for my earlier analysis. I don't know if it was for you or for someone else, but I mentioned that EJ is in huge consolidation right here, right? It's just been ranging within these two zones. So right here, price is pretty much just going back and forth between these two zones right here. So I personally wouldn't trade EJ until it closes above this structure over here, so you can take a buy, or if it closes below this structure right here, so you can take a sell. Because what's going to happen here is it's probably just going to keep ranging within this zone for quite some time until it determines a direction, right? Because if I take off this zone right here, you can see how clean it's been going back and forth between this structure, right? So until it closes above here or below here, I wouldn't take a buy and I wouldn't take a sell, because you don't want to get caught in this back and forth movement right here, where it's just bouncing back and forth. I would just wait for it to close above. So the reason for this buy signal right here, I wouldn't have taken this buy because price never broke into the structure down here, right? You can see, for example, up here, when price broke into the structure down here, which it failed to do over here. Let me just get there we go. So right here, price broke into the structure, right? Right here, price failed to break below the structure. So I wouldn't take that trade for a buy. Right here, you can see same situation happen, but in the opposite direction, right? Price was in the structure, then it closed below with the sell signal. That's why it pushed down to here. Right here, you know, this might be a little trick right here. You might think it's going to push up to here. However, price never broke below the structure. So it never set up for that breakout, right? Breakout in that direction. This was like a fake out for the most part, rather than a breakout. But like I mentioned before, I wouldn't take this trade until it closes outside, because the problem with this is you enter a buy position right here, you probably get stopped out before it even reaches up here, right? Obviously, you're going to get into this trade late, but I would wait for it to close up here for that confirmation. Vice versa, I would wait for this sell to close below here if I was to take a sell as well, because you really don't want to get caught in this consolidation right here. Because the last thing you want to do is be stuck in this trade for like another, how long has it been consolidating? For about 33 days, 34 days, 35 actually. Oh man, sneezed. But yeah, like right here, like I mentioned, you don't want to get caught in this consolidation for like another month, right? Because it's already been consolidating for 1 month from December 1st until now. Last thing you want to do is get caught in this consolidation for another month, and then you end up holding this trade for too long just to take that loss, right? So I would wait for it to close above here or below here for an entry. Otherwise, I think it's just too risky of a trade to take right now, because obviously it's been stuck in here for a long time. So I would hold off on that, Dennis. Otherwise, yeah, if this closes above, I'll take that buy, or if it closes below here with the sell, then I would take that sell. But until then, I wouldn't necessarily take the trade just yet. But yeah, guys, so I think that's about it. That's it for the questions. If you guys have any other questions, you know, feel free to reach out. Also, if you guys want to sign up to K2 to have access to the K2 indicators, it's still available. You know, it's available to you guys. It's not required that you guys have the indicators, but if you guys want to be able to analyze the charts and identify trades like I've done all day today, with the simplified, you know, zones and momentum that we follow, it's all available to you guys. Just go on the website right here, k2trades.com, and then you can sign up below. Like I mentioned last month, the trial was going to expire, and it did expire, so it's no longer available. And prices also went up for the strategies and the signals. So if you guys missed the you know, the previous pricing, unfortunately, pricing's gone up already. So you guys, if you guys want to learn and trade exactly how we do, then I recommend you sign up as soon as possible, because as we continue to get busier and busier, there's only one of me and there's like hundreds of you guys. So in order for me to you know, work with supply and demand, where I can help you guys with these one-on-one sessions, the price needs to go up, because we need to get rid of people that aren't seriously trading, and we need to keep focused on the people who are serious about trading. And just looking at the profits from today, if we go back to the save profits over here. See, David locked in about 1,000 in one day. This is just this morning. This covers your subscription for like the whole next couple months. Chelsea over here locked in about 1,300. People here are locking a ton of profits, guys. Miriam over here locked in 400 with me for the day using the K2 strategies. Tam over here locked in a couple $100. You know, you could literally cover your subscription for K2 with one trade. So it's up to you guys whether you guys want to trade K2 or not. If not, it's fine. I'll still be here to help you guys. But if you guys want to trade exactly how we do, then, you know, obviously you make your profit within one trade. Easy as that. Asai over here, this is Mursaba. He locked in some nice profit off Bitcoin. You know, same with Cheryl over here. She locked in about 9,000. It's as easy as that, guys. You know, but it's really up to you whether you want to take this opportunity or not. If you guys don't want to, it's completely fine. I'm still going to make profits trading on my own, and everyone else in K2 is going to be doing the same thing. So it's still available to you guys, but if price increases even further within the next couple months, you know, there's nothing I can do about it, guys. It's just where K2 is growing too fast. We're getting too busy. And I want to make sure that I can give you guys that one-on-one treatment for those mentoring sessions to make sure that you guys are successful in trading as well. So thanks for showing up, guys. I think that's about it for today. I'll be available in the Telegram if you guys have questions. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in tomorrow's live session. Unfortunately, we didn't take a US 30 trade today because of these crazy movements. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably be catching this tomorrow. You know, we didn't want to get caught in this crazy movement right here. Obviously, it dropped about 10,000 pips nearly. That's a lot of pips, guys, for US 30. So the circuit breakers might be getting, actually, no, not yet. If it drops below 29,000, then they're going to probably enable the circuit breakers. But until then, it's probably just going to keep dropping slowly. And then at this point, this is probably going to be the buy zone right here once price gets down to here. So if that happens, price drops down there, and then we get a buy signal like this right here, then I'll probably be taking that. And then we can pretty much ride that thing up like we've done in the past. So let me go ahead and take a look at this real quick. Oh, nice, nice. So CT just sent me his profits for USD CAD that he was just talking about. Nice work, CT. Check it out. CT's up 1,000, 2,000 right there. Also, oh, look at this again. He's up about 4,000 right there. Nice work, CT. So definitely looks good here, guys. You know, everyone's locking in profits. These aren't even my profits, guys. Like, I'm kind of jealous that everyone's locking in all these profits, and I'm not right now because I'm here on the live session with you guys. And that's why we need to keep growing this channel, guys, because the thing is, I'm giving you guys my time to teach you guys for free. But if this channel doesn't continue to grow, it'll be hard for us to really, for me to like give you guys my time, because I'm just way too busy, and I'd rather, you know, trade on my own than go on these live sessions with you guys. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, just go ahead and like the video or like the stream, and then subscribe if you guys haven't already. That way we can continue to grow the channel, and I can continue to give you guys free information every single day. Otherwise, thanks for showing up, guys. And thanks for that, Brian. So Brian said Shawn's real deal, guys. He talks the talk and walks the walk, definitely. And I'm here to help you guys, right? I want you guys to all be successful trading. You know, I'm a full-time trader. This is what I do for a living. I do this 24/7. So if I can do anything to help you guys, you know, get to my level of trading, I'll help you guys. Just go ahead and, you know, subscribe to this channel and continue showing up every single day and gain knowledge that I give you guys every day. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the next live session. If you guys have any questions, just reach out to me on Telegram, and then that'll be it for today, guys. All right, guys, we'll catch you guys later, and I'll see you guys in the chat.